Press start.
Let's start the show. Episode 171 of the Current Gen podcast. My name is Tim, and I'm here with Kirby.
That's right. Yeah, not another K though.
And I'm here with Jeffrey from Starfield. Hello, friend.
Hello. Yes, it is my pleasure to announce
Todd, is that you?
Starfield will be capped at 30 frames per second. Very
unsubscribe.
Yeah, world premiere. 30 frames per second.
Dan, I watch all the showcases except for Microsoft.
Hold on, let me balance things out. There we go. I balanced things out.
Wow.
Okay, cool.
Jim Ryan and Tom.
That's
Howard.
actually how Jimmy was watching the.
It's like
I'm in it. I'm Jack
watching the
Sands to
Xbox
Summer
show.
Game Fest. Yeah.
I'm
I'm in the PlayStation verse.
trying to
And,
It's at loosely hanging off his
Yeah.
and over there in
It's
Fableland,
upside
we've got Derek wrapped in his shawl. Nice to have you.
his shawl.
Thumbs
I'm gonna try to
up.
get a different word every time, but never something cool like a cape. It's not a cape. It's a shawl.
No.
Let's be
It's a
honest.
cape.
All right.
It's
So
not
we've
a
got
cape.
We've
It's a
got
furry
an
cape.
Xbox showcase that aired today we want to talk about, Starfield Direct, and a bunch of other details. We've got some little bits and pieces of news here and there to share. And then we'll do a relatively quicker recap of the Summer Game Fest, mainly because if you follow us or listen to us, you know that we did a live reaction to that earlier this week. So if you want to go back on YouTube and check out the Summer Game Fest live event reaction, but we'll still go over the headlines that jumped out to us in this episode here.
It was nothing important. Nothing at
Nothing important. Yeah, Dan and I did not enjoy
It
that.
was just mobile games nobody cares about.
Yeah, we did not have fun watching that at all. It was no good. But before we do that, there are a few new games and some key piece DLC that I believe is out. If not now, then I thought maybe it's coming next week. Like, I don't know. Maybe it is out now. But we'll talk about some new stuff from this week first, and then we'll get into news. So I'm just going to kick it off with, they're all smaller games as far as I can tell. So I'm going to kick it off with Nocturnal. Did anyone try this game, Nocturnal? Kind of a smaller indie. What do you think?
I literally diddled it. The
Literally.
most casual of diddles.
Okay, all right.
For like 10 minutes. But
It looks cool.
what I gather is, I like the art style, and it's not pixelated, and it's not really Metroidvania. You're not having to backtrack and go. You're literally only going forward, and you're having to light, especially when you're in dark areas. You're having to use your sword, which is on fire, to light torches, and you only have a finite amount of fire. This is when you're inside, basically, and it's pitch black. And but each time you light a torch, your fire length of time gets renewed on your sword, so it lengthens that time. So you're kind of like, when you're inside and there's no enemies, I mean, sometimes you're going to fight enemies, but when there's no enemies, you're kind of lighting torches to solve puzzles in order to get to the next area. And the enemies are tough. They're not like, at least they're not right away. It's not like easy to figure out, oh, this is their attack and this is where they're going to dodge. And this is what, so you kind of have to figure, okay, I know what this person is. They're an archer. All right, I'm just going to run up on them. But if they even have a knife, and they'll try to stab you if you run up on them. So like you have 5 things of health, so it is kind of like a roguelite in a sense, where it is.
Okay.
There's some difficult elements to it. This is all what I gathered from 10 minutes.
Yes, I was gonna say, it sounds like more than 10 minutes you played.
Yeah. It felt like it. Not in a bad way. It's just like you
like
kind
an
of get everything that the game is offering you kind of up front. It's not supposed to be a long indie game, so it's cool, man. For this type of like side scrolling. There's some platforming, especially like there's one of those kind of double jump tricks where if you do an attack in midair, it makes your jump longer. So sometimes you have to do that to get from platform to platform.
Gotcha.
But as far as that goes, and there's been way too many of those lately, but it's up there in terms of like better than okay. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It's not just okay and skippable. Like if you were to spend $15 on it, which I think that's what it is, it's not a bad purchase.
The only problem with those kind of games is that there's a lot of other games like it, but this sounds like it is a good one of those. It's a good one of those.
Yeah, I think so. The nocturnal part, there's a part very early on where the night chases you. Like there's like clouds chasing you, and they hurt you and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's where eventually, I didn't get there yet, but eventually you're going to be trapped indoors and have to use your sword to light up torches to get around the smoke or whatever. The smoke monster from Lost attacking you.
Sure. All right, so that's Nocturnal. 2 other smaller games that I did download the demos for, but I have set aside very little time this week for gaming, and so that's just something I could have, but I did not play either of those. And actually, the Tiny Thor demo became unavailable when the game launched, which was annoying. It was only available up to the game launch, and then now the only option is to purchase. There's no demo, which is kind of dumb, but whatever.
Son of a bee.
So there's Tiny Thor and there's Bleak Sword DX. I think Bleak Sword was a mobile game that they brought over to PC, but
oh, great.
Very exciting.
It's like the worst elevator pitch for a game.
Yeah.
It really
well,
is.
it used to be a mobile game. I'll get off here. Thanks.
Oh, okay, bye-bye. I don't think any of us played those, but those are new ones that
Could
are
have been
out.
an email.
Yeah. But I do think this is an Xbox Game Pass game. That's Amnesia: The Bunker. Did anyone play that one?
Nope.
No, but played any of these Amnesia games, but I know the first couple are like highly revered, aren't they? Like,
I think
they have
most of them. Yeah, I think most of them come usually reviewed pretty decently.
Yeah. They're kind of like horror, like walking simulator horror games, right? They're not action games, are they?
Yeah, I think they're walking simulator, like Outlast. Like.
I mean,
horror,
this one, the cover,
horror.
it looks like the dude's got a weapon and then something in his left hand, like almost like a magic, maybe like a light, like a magic light.
Okay.
Maybe this one's doing something a little bit different. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I know
So
nothing.
Are fans of this game called Amnesiacs?
Yes.
They need to be.
Forgot that the game existed. And
they need to be.
Never.
That's why they just keep releasing the same game over and over.
That's why.
It's like,
holy shit,
this new Amnesia game's great. Yeah.
Familiar, but great.
I actually would kind of love if a company did that. They just kept releasing the same game. That came to Game Pass alongside stuff like Hypnospace Outlaw and Car Mechanic Simulator 2021.
Oh my god!
You probably already platinumed that, right?
I did not try it yet, but you know I will.
There's a lot of them. It's ridiculous.
And then Rune Factory 4 Special came out on Game Pass as well.
Oh, cool.
Sure.
Okay.
Pretty neat. Let's see. Okay, so we talked about those. What about the last one I have is a new full game, and then we have a big DLC from Elder Scrolls Online. But the full game was Harmony: The Fall of Reverie, which we mentioned in our June preview. Anybody play that one?
Yeah, that's because that's a Don't Nod game, and they've changed their. It used to be one word, Don't Nod, all caps, and now they've since separated the words into Don't Nod, as in don't fall asleep during our games.
Yeah, don't nod. Don't agree with me.
Don't nod off, basically, is what it is.
Yeah.
No, this is a little more interactive, but it is kind of like a graphic novel type game.
Okay.
I just say it's a little more interactive because it's not like when they're talking at you, it's like they're animated and they're talking and it's fully voice acted. So they're not like stills doing this. They're actually talking at you and stuff like that. But there is like a really cool like fantasy background to it where your character, whose name is Harmony, in a parallel whatever alternate dimension, that alternate dimension where she's like a princess and doesn't know it, is like collapsing, so she has to like save it, and she has friends from this alternate dimension that can cross over into our world, and they were trying to help her basically by whatever. I don't know what they're trying to do what if they're trying to collect items or what. I can't remember. Again, I diddled this like for 5 minutes.
Jeff did a lot of diddling lately.
Yeah,
someone's diddling.
Diablo did not. They got the full. How do I want to phrase this? They got the full all my attention. Let me just put it that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was like trying to find the full, full version of diddling.
I'm now starting to.
Potatoes.
I'm starting to understand why you hesitated before saying.
Yeah.
Jeff gave it the old full meat.
That was a full blown fondle, guys.
Got it.
But this one was like what I gathered. It's like somewhat high concept fantasy, and it's very choice based. And actually, you can kind of preview a little bit. You can catch a glimpse of what your choice, the consequence of each choice is.
Oh, okay.
Like a very brief glimpse. But yeah, and the map for your choices are like circles, and it's like branching paths and stuff. Oh, okay. And eventually, you want to end up collecting enough something. I can't remember what the name of it is for this place called Reverie, to try and save it. And if you select incorrect paths along the way. You have to figure out a way back to. You have to go back. You have to figure out a way back.
We have to go back.
I can't stop. We've been saying it a lot in Diablo voice chat. We've been quoting Lost a lot. We've been saying Jack's line. We have to go back. So every time I hear the word back, I have to say it.
Well, and if it's Kate talking, it's I'm going with you, Jack. That's her whole thing.
Yeah.
She's always going to go with Jack.
I'm coming with you. Even if it's like, I'm going to go jump off a cliff, Kate.
I'm going with you, Jack.
I'm coming with you. Let me grab my things.
Oh, jeez.
All right.
Anyway, I'm not in the mood to play this kind of game right now. Maybe at some point when I'm like, all right, I need an easygoing game.
Seems like so it's about a variant going to a multiverse to do something. That's original. That's super cool. Good for them.
Yeah, we've never seen that before in any art form.
That's
great
how
job great job bleeding into a fan.
We're kicking off this positive episode with a lot of positive vibes.
Well, that sounds like sarcasm, brother.
There you go. Nice.
Picked up on that, dude.
The gaming wise, at least, the last notable new thing, and for some reason I thought it wasn't coming out for a couple more weeks, is the
I'm
DLC?
surprised to see it on this list. I was like, because I think this is here because I was supposed to play it, but
I thought it was out on
June
20th, but maybe it's out now.
What is it?
Yeah, I don't know.
The new DLC for Elder Scrolls Online called Necrom.
It's June 20th.
Yeah, I thought that was later.
Oh, okay. All right. So we can if anyone plays that in the next several weeks, we can bring it up then too. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Final Fantasy comes out that week. Sorry, Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, it's gonna have to wait.
Wait, final what?
Yeah, you know what it is, Dan. Come on now. Come on. A couple of big movies have dropped this summer, but one that might pertain to some of our listener audience and movies that I know we've talked about before, and that's the new Transformers. This one's The Rise of the Beasts. So is this worth a theater view? Is this worth renting when it's on streaming, or worth skipping? Where are we putting this one?
I might have been the only one that's seen it. I don't know. But I would put it on the stream it option for sure.
Okay.
Ow. Especially if it's a subscription that you already have. Don't go buying a new subscription because it's streaming on XYZ Films, whatever platform. Don't seek it out on a separate platform. It's okay. Like, it's not. The Michael Bay movies are far worse.
Well, I was gonna say, what are your feelings about those as a whole?
I think they're all pretty terrible. They're all like mediocre to terrible.
I like the first one.
The first 2 or 3.
I like the first.
And the first one gets on my nerves now when I watch it again. When I first started watching it, I watched it all the time and I really liked it. And now I get nitpicky with certain scenes and I'm like, that is so stupid. That is so dumb. Why are we doing this?
Dumb in a Michael Bay movie?
Yeah, I know.
What is his what an eBay name? I forget where Optimus Prime says it, but
Bumblebee, and this one's supposed to be along the lines of Bumblebee's quality. So.
Well, it's a more serious,
way
right? Is it a more serious one?
No, they try for humor in this, and it falls flat a lot.
Okay.
Like there were like 2 jokes that I laughed at pretty hard. And I think what a lot of critics are saying is, a lot of them are praising like Pete Davidson as that one Transformer, Mirage or whatever. He's really entertaining, and I'm like, sure, I agree, but some of those jokes are just like, and it's not him so much as the way that the jokes are written, and they're just clearly forcing.
I do not like Pete Davidson, so when I found out he was in the movie, I was like,
he's probably
not my thing.
But yeah, he plays like the best friend of the human character or whatever. And there's some eye-rolly moments where it's like, it's pretty much like the equivalent of having the main character say, "What do you mean, you people?" There's a lot of those eye-rolly moments, like in the beginning of the movie. And you're like, God, all right, I guess we're.
You mean like the Captain Falcon speeches happen?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Right. You guys got to do better. Now that he said it, we should totally change our tune, guys. That's not how it works ever. Anyway,
I never thought of it that way.
I know. Gee, nobody's ever done that in the history of never. Like Hitler heard the other side of the argument. He was like, you know what? These Jews ain't bad, and he stopped. That's not what happened. But this movie it has a really cool third act where like it's just a lot of robots punching each other and stuff, but
that's what it's all about.
We're here for.
It's shot really, really well. Like it's way better than Michael Bay shot.
I'm gonna go see it in the theaters. I was supposed to see it.
On the Michael Bay scenes.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
In this movie, you can in Bumblebee, you can see when they transform. You can see what part goes where, and it's like, oh, that's new. Like I'm
glad that you're mentioning that because I've literally seen people like when the trailers were first coming out for this new Transformers movie, and people complaining that the camera was like too still, that you could see the action clearly. I'm like, what do you morons even what?
Yes.
Like,
What
what are
did
you
we do?
talking
What did
about?
we do to people?
We
where someone
need
would
you to
say that?
shake the camera for no
Yeah.
reason.
You were brainwashed into accepting bad filmmaking.
It's Stockholm
Yeah.
syndrome. Stockholm syndrome with
Yeah.
that.
I'm used to a certain amount of shakiness, and it's not
Sure.
here right now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Dang.
God,
Yeah.
people are just,
All right.
things.
Well, Transformers
is a-
Rise of the Beast.
there is
I'm
crazy,
interested in seeing.
there's a crazy cliffhanger that's kind of alluding to a larger thing, collaboration with another
G.I.
franchise.
Joe.
Another franchise? Yeah, as a
Yeah.
G.I. Joe.
Godzilla Kong.
Wait,
Going
G.I.
into
Joe?
the Spider-Verse.
I don't know.
For the sequel.
To this, yeah.
I was
Just
kidding
all
about
the-
G.I. Joe, but I used to play with Transformers and G.I. Joe at the same time all the time. In my head, that universe has always been combined.
Yeah, I'm here.
Sirens
the
are going off,
rumors.
sir.
There have to be army
And-
men in that universe.
And Ninja Turtles. They've all been in the same universe in my head. The way I played, they were all together. But
Tim has always been doing the multiverse of
I
madness.
was
I really
always
have.
I was actually playing Robotech and GI Joes, and I was always like using. I think it was Storm Shadow was always
Dude,
hooking
Storm
up with
Shadow,
Lisa
yeah.
Storm
from
Shadow's cool, yeah.
Robotech.
oh, they were hooking up. You were playing a very different type of play.
I was like 8 years old hooking up.
Dude, my
Wow.
brothers and I had like the
You're such a
full
whore.
G.I. Joe forts, and our whole living room floor would have like the setup with the Cobra attack force. We'd have like all the boats and the planes and stuff coming to attack the G.I. Joe fortress, and we'd have them all set up, and then the battle would ensue. And we would copy anything we had seen in recent movies. Like if we had seen Princess Bride, we would do a fight scene just like that somehow. Like there's a sword fight scene that plays out just like any movie we had seen that kind of had like a good guy versus bad guy moment. We would play even after we saw Die Hard. We ended one of our kind of like big battles in the same way, where he has like a gun behind him like this. Like,
Yeah, sick.
yeah.
I
I don't know. We're not afraid to copy what we've learned on TV as kids when we're
You're
playing.
right what you love, and that goes for imagination. Yeah.
That's exactly it, man. Yeah, thank you. I needed that affirmation. Thank you. All right, well, I want to jump in with headlines straight to the most recent things that's fresh in our minds and that's exciting. And I think it's the one thing that we haven't really been able to talk about a ton yet. I know we put some of our thoughts in our chat, but I just want to jump right into the Xbox showcase, Starfield Direct, get an idea of what you guys thought about each of these things. Jeff, thanks for putting the notes in here. That helps a lot. What we'll do is what we've done before with some of these. Since we didn't do a live reaction, we'll list them all. But as we go through, if you want to pause and talk and give your thoughts on what you saw there, or things that you liked, didn't like, or maybe something that you're more hyped for now, we'll talk about those things. Let's kick it off with how they kicked it off, and that's with Fable. How long did it take you guys from when you first saw that the IT crowd actor? I forget his name.
I know
he's
you're
in the
talking about. I forget his
Yeah,
name.
no, he's IT crowd. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah. As soon as I saw him, I was like, "What is this game?" And then it took me a minute until I realized it was Fable. Did it take you, or did you guys realize it right away?
It said Playground. It said Playground Games.
It
and I was
said
like, oh,
Playground
Yeah.
at the beginning, and I knew.
I
immediately.
didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
catch the developer name. Oh, okay, got it.
I was like, Fable.
Okay,
Yeah,
sweet,
yeah.
sweet. So what did you think about that trailer? The way it kind of had him talking, and it was very tongue in cheek and humorous and silly, but then it also showed a whole bunch of like I thought pretty amazing, fantastical visuals. And what do you guys think?
I was just excited just to see Fable. That's all I wanted. Of course, I would have loved to seen like gameplay or a release date, but to be honest, my expectations are that this game is still a couple years out.
Yeah.
So
Same here.
I think their goal here was to kind of just show us, hey, we're still making this game. And I think the thing that made me happy is they nailed the tone.
Mhm.
Fable is a very, very silly franchise. It always has been. And I like that that was the entire tone of the trailer.
That was the
while
centerpiece of the trailer,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
while still being like very epic looking as far as how it looks. Like this
Mhm.
looks like this could be a really awesome open world action
Yeah.
RPG game.
That's the thing
the
about
graphics were gorgeous.
That's what I was gonna say. That's the thing about Playground Games is like, oh, it's gonna look amazing because they
It
make
said in-game
some
footage.
incredible-
I like the new style
Yeah.
too. Like the cutesy stuff was fine for then, like the cutesy kind of cartoony graphics that they used to have. But like this is a little more leaning into kind of
More
realism and
realistic.
stuff like that. But like
Yeah.
it still looked fantastical. Like there's still a lot of like elements that grounded it in a place of fantasy. I don't know. I kind of like, and it's a swing. Like changing the entire look of a game. Like that's it's a pretty big swing, and I think that they nailed it if they were trying to debut it in a really positive way.
In fact, Avowal actually looks like it could be a Fable game. It's not, but I'm saying like the look of it is like what I would think Fable would have gone to, like a modern Fable. And this is like Kyle was saying, this is going like, hey, we're gonna treat this like this is a Gears or a Halo franchise, which is how I always felt they should have treated Fable. I don't know why. We're not gonna get into it. I know Fable 3 didn't do as well, but I still think they should have always treated this as their third most important franchise.
It just
behind
let
Halo and Gears.
And I
Yeah,
feel like
sure.
this
Yeah,
is being treated that way now.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
Well, I mean,
That's
if
a
you
good
got the
point.
Forza guys on it, they're clearly, you know,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
yeah.
saying.
You're pulling your A team onto some
Yeah,
big
that's right.
project. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
they've
the-
hit
And
just
I
home
do
runs,
love that
basically.
it's them doing something different.
Yeah.
So we get to see. We already know they're talented, but we also only know they're talented in making one style of game.
Yeah, that's
If
true.
they can
Yep.
come out here and nail this, that changes the entire,
Yeah, that's a good
like
point.
the whole.
Here's what
I
scares me
thought-
though: if this is so good, we never get a Horizon game ever again.
Oh,
because they're
they'll
going to
split
be
the
put on
teams off.
Fable
They'll
games
expand.
forever. Yeah.
Maybe they'll just
They'll-
expand
they'll
even
Yeah,
more.
split
they'll
the
make
teams
multiple
off.
teams. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I do
To
think
me,
some of
this
what
is-
we
If this is really good, this just is a testament to the leadership of Playground Games, and they'll
Yep.
absolutely invest more money in them, and then they'll expand, and we'll get more from them, which is what I want. Because, in my opinion, of all the studios Xbox has, they have been the most consistent and best
Yeah.
studio for the last decade.
Seems like it, yeah. Seems like it.
Yeah, what's cool. Oh, Jeff, what were you
did
gonna
it look
say? You
like
were gonna say
some
something.
of yeah, I was gonna say didn't it look like some of that was gameplay where like she was
Yeah, a
running
little bit.
around?
Yeah.
Right?
I was like,
Yeah,
oh my
some
god,
of it
that's
had-
glimpses
yeah.
of gameplay.
Like when
That's
she's
awesome.
getting chased by the giant,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, which is so cool, by the way. Like we've never seen that kind of fantasy in this
Yeah.
like Fable universe.
Or
you
when
know,
she
it's
threw
always,
fire in the forest, it looked
you
kind of
know, just like Jack and the Beanstalk like stories and stuff like that. I wonder if
No.
we're gonna see a lot of really like classic, you know, kind of like
like
fables,
like modern retellings of
Oh, like actual
Yeah.
fables.
Yeah.
Like
literal
Yeah.
fables. Yeah.
That'd be
be
really
interesting.
awesome.
that'd be an interesting take.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's not their original property, so I think to stand out and make it like kind of feel like a fresh start, it makes sense to do, like you said, the visuals are still fantasy,
Think it's
but like realistic, or yeah, kind of more like
I think they'll
Fable.
pay
the Beanstalk
homage
and all that.
to the original trilogy, but they'll
Sure.
have
Yeah, yeah.
twists that they have to go in a different direction, because while the original trilogy was successful, it obviously wasn't so successful that Microsoft felt like they should stick with it consistently. In fact, they tried to do, and we've talked about it before, they tried to change it completely, and they tried to make it like this multiplayer stupid game, which absolutely failed. So I do think they need to change it, but I still think they need to still have it rooted in what the trilogy was. And I feel like this, again, it's just a small glimpse, but the glimpse I got, I walked away from it going, yes, I have faith these guys are going to nail the tone
Yeah,
while making
she kicked the chicken. Like that's
much
all we needed.
better.
Right?
Yeah, I thought some of that stuff was over the top, stupid, funny. Like that
Yeah.
was good stuff.
Same. I also think the chances of it coming sooner could be likely because Motorsport is going to be out the window. We'll get to it. What's going to be out the window this year, and then they don't have another Horizon lined up that we know of. So I mean, maybe what if they're just focusing on this and that's it? So
Oh,
what
does
if it comes
Playground
out
Games do
No.
Motorsport too?
Yeah, they do Motorsport, all the
Oh,
Forza
I thought they
stuff.
only did.
No,
Forza
I
Horizon.
thought a different team does Forza Motorsport.
Really?
I thought,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's two separate teams. Yeah.
I don't.
Hmm.
I don't know it well enough. I just kind of had thought that, but I don't know.
Oh, turn 10.
Yeah, turn 10.
Oh,
yeah.
Turn 10.
That's right, turn 10. Because when I booted up.
So
it's-
yeah, I mean, what if this is
But
a
they
fall
haven't
2024
announced
game?
it after.
They
5,
haven't announced it.
announced
I think this is the next game on the dot. I mean, this to see this as soon as next year feels
I
a little
would-
ambitious, but
I
it
know.
could happen.
Like, what
Yeah.
if this is What if this is 2024 holiday? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah,
That'd be amazing.
November 2024, and it very much could be. If they just
Very much could be.
They put a lot of budget into it, put some manpower onto it.
It could be like a Spider-Man thing where they're like, oh, I don't want to commit just yet. I really don't want to commit just yet.
but we're
And then like
close.
3 months before it comes out, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
let's do it. You
Yeah.
know, I'm
If they
comfortable.
could start doing that and kind of getting that consistency,
And the
then they'll
cadence,
be
yeah.
swinging
Yeah.
back in the
Sure.
right direction, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I think
I-
Avowed will be their fall 2024. That will give Obsidian a
Okay,
year and a
could be
half
right.
to nail it down.
I think
so
I agree with what you said originally, Derek. I do think this is likely a early 2025, maybe late 2025 game. But who knows?
That feels
man?
more right to me. Yeah.
Who knows? But it's exciting that it's coming. It was nice to get a glimpse of it, and I thought it was a very clever way of revealing
yeah,
kind of direction they're heading. It's like Fable's a beloved franchise. Let's show them where we're heading with this, and that's
And
I thought that was
This is a franchise that you need to do this because I know we've all said it before, and I think we all agree. We don't like generally seeing stuff that's like 2-3 years out. But I
True.
think for announcements like this, well, I mean, I know they announced it before, but they never showed us anything. I think this is good because there's a lot of fans that just want to see that it exists. And
Yeah.
so I think this was good. It didn't take up too much of the show. It was a quick hitter. It was a good way to start the show.
I was surprised they started it with this. You know,
Yeah.
like this is a
I
show.
thought
This
Fable
is a
would
show
be like
shot stopper.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
type
they
of-
started with 3 back to back, which we're going to talk about. That were like, what is happening right now? They are just like trying to hit a home run.
haymaker.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good.
Speaking of haymaker after haymaker, they announced a new IP called South of Midnight, which we really only got a CG trailer for. It said in engine, I believe, in the little note at the bottom.
Yeah, I
which-
don't think the gameplay will be different.
So it's in engine, but we don't really know what this is. The girl who showed up, the character who I assume is the player character, I gotta tell you, even though it just had told me that this is an Xbox games, Xbox Studio game, my brain all of a sudden was like, oh, is this like a sequel to Far Cry 5 New Dawn? Because she looks just like one of the villains from New Dawn, the Far Cry 5 game. Like exactly like, if you go look at that game right now, you'll see there's twin sisters that are villains in that game. So I really thought it was her. But it's not. It is a brand new game. I don't know what this is. Some sort of monster hunting game where you've got some kind of magic that she does, and then it just gave us the title.
They gave the animation style kind of like a stop. It's almost stop motion-ish in the way the Spider-Verse is,
Right.
like it's kind of cool.
I kind of likened it to something I would see in Love, Death, and Robots, like one of the styles, like this kind of looks like one of those really interesting style animated,
Yeah.
And it's by it's the We Happy Few team, so there's going to be some weird imagery going on.
Sure. Yeah, good pull on that one. Yeah.
I never played that one, but it looked like the
Me neither,
the
because
style
there's
of it was
survival
cool.
elements, and I'm just not good at those type of games.
I actually thought it was better than like a lot of people said it was. I didn't play it like for hours and hours, but I played the first few hours and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, even though that was just a little tease, we also got what looked to me like pretty much just a cinematic tease of another game that, at least title-wise, was new for me. Star Wars Outlaws. I think we knew Ubisoft was working on a Star Wars game, didn't we? Like a single player.
Yeah.
And the rumor was, it's coming in 2024, and everybody was like, all right, get out of here. Nobody believes
it's going to be completely open with the first Star Wars open world game ever. Like, yeah, sure.
Oh, cool. Sure you are. Sure. Yeah. But this definitely has like the underworld kind of smuggler world type of vibe of that side of Star Wars. It's not the Jedi stuff. It's more about smugglers and gangsters and the underworld and all that kind of stuff. The Nar Shaddaa type stuff. So I'm all in on this. I am loving that type of story because I love Cal's story on the Jedi series that we're going through. I feel like, we're gonna get a third game that's gonna be awesome. It's very Jedi centric. I love it. I want to see the other side of Star Wars that I also absolutely love. And so I know it was pretty much just a cinematic trailer. That's okay. I
was sweating hard during it because when the stinger at the end too, it's like you're gonna get more tomorrow. So pay attention to
during
that.
Ubisoft Forward.
Yeah, you're gonna get more gameplay.
Right. We're gonna get gameplay.
So like that made it feel better too.
It's so funny that how the teasing that Ubisoft is comfortable doing. Like they could have announced Prince of Persia game at their thing. They could have announced this at their thing.
No.
But they were just like, no, let's make people want to watch our showcase.
I was gonna say
really
it actually is very beneficial to them because I always liked Ubisoft, so I always watch their stuff. But when they do these little teasers ahead of time, I'm like, ooh, I get to see more in depth at their actual show. I'm there, So I think
their in-depth stuff is usually pretty good too. Like I have a lot of I remember their Assassin's Creed Origins when they were changing everything. Like they did an hour long. Like this is how we've changed everything, and I was like, this is how you do this.
I still remember when they did a whole deep dive on Skull and Bones. Remember that when they did that deep dive?
That was a really good game.
Okay.
I really like that.
Okay.
We're gonna learn more about it tomorrow, guys. So
can't wait.
The whole presentation.
The whole presentation.
They're literally gonna announce
funny they
at
never
the
show
presentation.
They don't show it.
Playing the presentation of Skull and Bones. That's what they're.
That's all.
Dude, I think their only option, by the way, not to get on a big tangent with Ubisoft with Skull and Bones, outside of canceling it, their only option is to shadow drop it at some point. Like all of a sudden, like it's out right now. Like you can't give us another release date.
Either that or you go we're sorry, you can get out of your ships now.
Sorry.
Yeah, you know what? We heard
Yeah,
you. You know, we added the whole
someone
thing.
comes out like, this was never a game. We're sorry.
Or they do like a Devolver twist to it. They show us like this whole in-depth thing. It looks actually pretty solid, and at the end they're like, "Oh, actually, no,
this is not real."
That was all concept. Sorry.
Canceled it. Like, we're
This
sorry.
is actually DLC for the new Assassin's Creed. That's what it is.
So I know, of course, Fable and South of Midnight, obviously Game Pass games because they're Microsoft Studios. Star Wars Outlaws is multi-platform. Is that going to be Game Pass? Did it say Game Pass day one on that
I don't
one?
remember seeing that.
I don't remember.
I
Yeah.
feel
I can
like
pull up Phil's tweet.
I
A
know
lot
in
of
the
them did.
past
the Game Pass
anything
ones.
that's there is Game Pass.
That's kind of I
There
guess
were
I
a few that
immediately
weren't
thought that
Either
too.
Game
but yeah.
Pass
There were a
or
few that aren't.
exclusive.
There were
Okay.
a few that were not
Few
this
that
time.
weren't. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Not very many. Most of them said it, but there were a few that
Then
weren't.
I would imagine that one's not. But
Okay, you might be right.
generally speaking, they do that.
One that is 33 Immortals from Thunder Lotus. They're the folks who did.
Oh, I'm sorry to backtrack for a second on Star Wars Outlaws for anybody that might have a little bit of concern about the open world aspect. This is by the team that did the both Division games.
Okay.
So yeah,
they're
it's not an
experienced.
Assassin's Creed game. Yeah, I think a
Are
lot
they
of people.
is it
Oh, it's just going to be an
massive?
Assassin's Creed paint game, and I'm like,
They
I don't
did
think
Far
that
Cry
team's
3
doing
as well.
Okay, cool.
They don't know
it's
how
a
to
studio
make
called
games,
Massive,
then.
right? The Ubisoft. I think they're called Massive. I could be wrong.
Massive Entertainment, yeah.
Massive, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mission
So the
rocks, dude. This
studio.
game's gonna rock.
The
Yeah,
studio
it's gonna be
behind
awesome.
Jotun, Sundered, and Spiritfarer, Thunder Lotus, has a new game coming out called 33 Immortals, really leaning into the Jotun style of isometric
Yeah.
action against gigantic monsters that you're fighting against in this fantasy world. But 33 Immortals, and they're actually making the gameplay tie into whatever that lore is about these 33 heroes, and so it's a 33 player co-op game. I don't know how that works. If it's like sign up
it
for
seems
randoms.
like you're all like
It's gotta be
solving
randoms.
puzzles together and
Yeah.
doing
and
bosses.
doing raids. There was like raids they said. So I don't know.
The only way this can work is if they're probably stealing from how Fall Guys did it, and they're just like
random.
okay, just
go.
matchmake with randos.
Go, right.
Because there's no way you can coordinate with 32 other people. That's just
Yeah,
impossible.
what's that chat like? Is it 33 people screaming over each other?
I mean,
guys, you gotta go left, right,
Yeah,
left,
go
right.
No,
right.
now I could do it with all my kids, but you guys couldn't. I understand
No.
that.
No, I couldn't
so,
handle
yeah.
it. I'm not good
Listen,
for it.
very
I think
cute
it's
that
just gotta be
Xbox is
follow the
making
leader type.
33 player game. Us at Sony, we made a 256 action.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
first-person
we
shooting
did
game,
that
all right?
15 years
Mag.
ago. So we're better.
You guys did a great job.
You're
of
all
that. It
playing
was
Mag right now,
outstanding.
right?
Yeah,
And we
all
actually
the
called
time.
it Massive Action Game. So what
Right.
ifs?
What
We're not
just
compensating
a
for
dumb
anything.
game name. I actually love the concept of that game. I think that game played awfully, but like the
Yes,
whole concept
yes.
was great. But like
Yeah.
the name of it, get out of here.
I wanted to like it so hard.
Same here.
That
I
one, and
I
there was
tried
like
really hard
another
to like
game
it.
they released that was like that. I thought that I played a lot of, and they just
Yeah.
failed.
Then they showed Payday 3 and confirmed that September 21st release date, and
Game
it looks like a
Pass.
blast. And it's
Game
on Game
Pass.
Pass
Yep.
day
It's
one.
gonna be so good, guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
It didn't look like they changed the graphics at all.
No, but it looks fun.
But it
They
looks
just
super fun. I
released,
bet the controls are gonna be really tight. So
Payday
so.
2 is free on Epic Game Store, so I've been.
Payday
Yeah.
2 is a brilliant game. So you know, go download
Was
that.
there as much tech as the third one is advertising in the second one? Was like
there
they're
was
advertising a
some
lot
tech,
of
but
hacking
it looks
stuff.
like, everything looks a little more, but like yeah, there was like gear specific tech for classes and two. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks like chaos.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm
As
excited.
Chaos.
as was already leaked this week, Persona 3 Reload is heading in early 2024.
Leaked
to-
by Atlas, by the way.
Yeah,
Leaked
literally.
by Atlas.
They're like, what was that showcase then? What did we? Why did we drop this? on
We
Instagram? What
we
was that
are
showcase?
ponies, and they betrayed Xbox
Dude,
because they're
It's
so
like they were
loyal
walking
to
out of the store with
exclusive.
jewelry under their skirt, and it fell out, and they just kind of tried to scoot
Yeah.
it back under the skirt.
Right, right. And then
We saw
Sony
it,
comes
we
out of the
saw
store
it.
with a knife in their back.
I know. But so yeah, that is going to be on Game Pass. Of course, that's coming to other platforms, but Game Pass is a big win for that one.
What a fumble there.
And then we saw actual, what I thought was gameplay, but definitely a lot of footage from Avowed, which is also 2024.
Lots of
That
gameplay.
blew my mind that we saw so much of that. Wasn't that game just conceptual like a year
I
ago?
thought it just had like a title.
2 years
Yeah,
ago.
and they even
announced
said
it
they're
a
like, we
while
don't know
ago.
what this game is
Yeah.
yet. I thought they
Yeah.
said something like that.
We're seeing like dialogue choices and stuff now. Like we're starting to see
this
how
looked
it.
like a real
dude,
game. Yeah,
I love
and it
them
looked like
saying so
Skyrim,
much,
and I
man.
loved it. I loved
Yeah,
everything.
this
That
about
was
it.
what I was gonna say. I was actually talking to Jesse about it because he was excited about the game. I was like, it's pretty cool. You have Bethesda making Starfield, and then you have basically, because you're not gonna get an Elder Scrolls game for a while, you're getting your single player RPG the next year from
From Avowed.
another amazing studio that's gonna
Yeah.
make a game that looks
They're gonna
very
beat
similar
Fable
to
out
Elder.
in terms of like being like a AAA like exclusive like fantasy game on Xbox. You know, like
Dude, I
it's
love Obsidian's probably like my favorite.
Obsidian's awesome.
Would you consider them AA? But they're probably like one of my favorites.
No, I'd say
if
AAA.
not my
They're
favorite.
AAA now.
But
I feel like
like,
they're AAA that make AA games.
but even with their AA
Yeah.
entries, like I would even consider Grounded AA, even though you can do a lot in that game. But like,
Oh,
even,
and like
even those
Pentiment
games,
and stuff. Okay.
yeah, and
Yeah,
Pentiment
yeah.
and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
right,
like
right.
even that stuff, I'm like, they deliver so hard.
They do.
And this is literally just Outer Worlds but fantasy, but I'm all about it. Like it's
Well,
just
they always
Agreed.
lean it like they took the South Park game really seriously. It's like we're gonna make an RPG South Park game, and it's gonna be a really good RPG, and it was
thought out.
You know,
Yeah,
just,
super thought out. Yeah.
They do a really good job of just like realizing something.
They had
and
some
just going for
missteps every now and then with like some mobile games or some other stuff, but like I'm talking about more recent history, well, like South Park onward. That's when I was like, okay, Obsidian can't miss.
Everybody's
Like, they don't know how to
New
miss it.
Vegas, you know. Like
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a lot of
Yeah.
people's favorites, you know,
Yeah.
as far as the Fallout games.
So I like the amount they showed of this one, Derek, you could be onto something where it's like Avowed is the big 2024 one, and then Fable's going to hit in 2025. Like that cadence, like from a business perspective, makes wonderful sense, especially if the development is shaping up that way.
Plus, you have
Avowed and
Hellblade
Fable
in
shouldn't come
2024
out
too.
super close to each other.
Yeah,
They're
another
so-
fantasy adjacent, you know,
Yeah,
possibly open
they
world
should
game.
space those out if they can help it.
That's
I
true.
still don't think Hellblade is real. We got another CG trailer. That I'm
We'll
just
talk
like,
about that
what-
here in a
what is this
second.
game?
Sea of Thieves is getting new DLC content in July called The Legend of Monkey Island, and I actually kind of chuckled at a couple parts. I was like, "This is fun." It's mixing
How those
two
games are, yeah.
It's mixing two properties that are just fun. They're not like the
Well,
best.
I thought it was
They're
funny
fun.
because when I saw Lucas art, I was like, "How are
Oh,
they
I got
gonna
really
put
excited.
Star
Oh,
Wars?"
you're like Star.
Oh God, yeah! I got
Indiana
really
Jones.
excited all of a sudden.
No,
Like,
it's
how are you
They're
guys
doing it
gonna do
again.
this? Rare,
Oh,
I was first
right,
thinking,
yeah.
I was like, "Is Rare making a Star Wars game?" Like,
Same,
is
yeah.
that what's happening?
Yeah.
No.
I knew
No,
it was Sea of Thieves right away, but I was like, what the hell are they linking with Sea of Thieves? This makes no sense.
As soon as
but
they
Monkey
showed
Island,
like
having
the
just
fog.
played that game, I can tell, you know,
Oh,
They
this
go
was last year.
perfectly together.
I can
So
tell
it's
that,
okay.
that they're using the same exact voice actors,
Yeah.
and these guys are just perfect for it. And it's
That's
apparently
actually really cool.
it's
It is cool.
it's a free story, you know, like everything else is for this game. It's like a free add-on story, and it's told in 3 parts, and you can do it single player if you want to.
Yep.
I think
Well, that's
super
what I did with
awesome.
the I did that with the Jack Sparrow story. I thought
Oh,
I thought
nice.
the Pirates was so fun. They did. I
I
was
love
like
their
Yeah.
yearly
I was like they
crossovers.
actually told a really fun like chapter by chapter story in Sea of Thieves. I didn't know that they could do that, but they've done that a number of times now. It's just people think of that game and write it off as, oh, it's just open world pirating with it's all just aimless. And
Sure.
they've really like yes, it can be that if that's how you play it, but there's lots of really fun
Yeah, it
missions.
seems like
Yeah, there's
a
some
lot of
cool
focus
stories in there.
to just choose a story.
And this is a good combo. This is a smart connection, I think.
Very
between the
smart.
two.
Yeah.
This is a good one. All right, so we've got that. We also have Flight Simulator 2024, which I think is a new game because the other one was 2019,
Yeah, it is.
right? Okay, so this is a brand new game.
Flying
they-
even harder.
Dude, they showed some pretty incredible new gameplay features they're going to add. So like, yes, you can still do all the Flight Simulator stuff, but they are adding a ton of mission-based stuff. Everything from search and rescue to like testing new gear to like there's lots of stuff like trying to break
Emergency
records,
services related
emergency
stuff.
services,
Yeah.
even like crop dusting. Like there's lots of things like you want to go do a mission, they're going to give you all kinds of flight-based missions like hot air balloon.
I was gonna say,
Like,
I
this-
mean, the other game
Craziest
already
game
was.
I'll never play. This is the
Yeah,
craziest
it's
game
just
I'll
massive.
never play.
It's the whole Earth, right? It's the whole.
The
It's
whole
the
Earth.
entire
Whole
planet.
planet.
So I mean, like, how do you top that? It's like, well, I guess we add specific things you
Yeah,
can do. Like,
They actually call it a career. Like the idea is like you pick a career and like get better in that area, and you're doing like real
think that's
search
Huh.
and rescue and stuff.
Yeah.
So
So wild.
great idea.
so it's like a
Love
job. So it's a simulator game,
It's-
and
yeah.
Tim's all over it. So,
I'm all
you
over
know.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that you can
Monday.
actually work towards a goal, yeah, Tim's gonna be all over that.
Although-
I
Oh,
can't wait for
pretend
the
flying.
I can't wait for the expansion
You
where you actually power wash the plane before you fly. And
Dude, you
Dude.
know I
It's
would
like a
do that.
crossover.
Kyle,
You
don't
know I
even
would
don't
watch.
even. Go there.
Yeah, I
Don't
would
even
watch
go
that
there.
plane. I would watch that plane so much. And then also the Dune expansion for the existing game is coming out this fall, and
Dude,
it kind of
So crazy.
I got to be honest, I did like I didn't nod off, but I kind of was like got distracted and I looked back and I go Dune, and I thought there was like a Dune game being announced, and I was like, oh,
No.
okay, never mind.
but it just kind of showed the copter, whatever those are called, omnicopter. No,
Ornithopter. Ornithopter, something like that. Yeah.
It showed the thing kind of unfold and then you fly it in the game. So like that's being added.
How would you
It's
even
super
simulate that? Because you can't do that for real. Like whatever. It's it's so crazy.
As long as they have the big sandstorm crash, that's all that I want to play.
Yeah, exactly.
There better be a sandworm too that you can at least look at.
Yeah, otherwise what's the point? Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, we got another trailer for that, and it still said it says 2024. I think it was Yuka who just said this. I don't know if this game is ever going to come out either. Like, they should just put this with Skull and Bones. Those two games go together. They're never going to come out. We'll just keep seeing trailers and updates for them.
I think it's gonna come. I mean, this. I know they're not showing. I know, but I really think it's gonna hit because this is what the game is. I mean, they film everything this way, so I really think they're gonna.
I just wonder what the moment-to-moment gameplay is. Like, what am I doing in between weird moments of people talking in my brain? Am I
I think that's going to start coming out later, and that's what I'm very curious with this game because I was very I didn't love the first one. I don't think it's trash or anything. I won't insult it. I thought what it was trying to do was cool. I just didn't necessarily like to play it.
That's
so
fair.
I want this game to be what the first one was, but just I want to see
make it fun to play.
Yeah, make it a little bit more fun to play, and then it's supposed to be open world, correct, or something like open area.
That's what I was going to ask. Is people keep saying that, but has the dev
supposed to be bigger? It's supposed to be bigger.
Did the dev say we're making an open world video game? Because I feel like
a
lot of people said that on behalf of the game.
Yeah,
I just think they said that
the scope has grown for it.
Exactly. They initially planned to make a sequel the way they made the first one, but when Microsoft purchased them, they decided to make this a bigger.
Microsoft said make it bigger,
Yes. So I actually agree with you. The Hellblade combat was fine and at times fun, but did get repetitive and wasn't as good as others in the same genre. And the puzzle solving in the environments was fine, and I thought at times kind of fun, but again wasn't as good as many others. And so I rolled
my eyes every single time I had to do a
puzzle. It was not up to par with other games that are like in that action adventure.
Well,
RPG.
These guys can do it. So their pedigree is they can nail combat.
That's what they're
I like that game a lot. I want to be really clear. Like, I really enjoyed the first game.
Yeah, so you liked it more than me for sure.
I know. Yeah, I did like it a lot. Yeah. So and me, I hate it.
I like the experience, but
torture.
I let my
it was torture
at the time. No, I didn't like playing the game.
It's hard to defend the actual core gameplay because it was not super strong. I do.
Yeah, but I thought everything else was.
Yeah, on a technical level, I was just like, I played it with the headphones. I was just like, how did they do this?
I played in surround sound.
The level of mind games they play with you, it almost reminded me of the way that Remedy tells a story, where it's like, what is going on? Like,
the storytelling methods were out of this world.
Yeah, I loved it. All right.
Oh, by the way, south of whatever that second game is that they showed.
Midnight.
South of Midnight. That is a Game Pass game. I don't know if we said that, but
it's Xbox Studio. It's okay. With a C.
Okay, so you did mention that. All right.
Compulsion game? No.
Yeah, Compulsion Games. Yeah.
Compulsion Games. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so we've also got Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. We saw some naked butt in this trailer.
That was so funny.
That was a hilarious trailer, dude.
So funny. That's like the vibes of that whole series, to be honest.
But yeah, it's.
So I'm glad that they're just like, this is what we're all about now. You know, it's not it's not gritty Yakuza story or anything like that. No. You know, it's like it's about some guy being stranded in America, naked. Yeah. So this was announced later that this is the 8th game. You know, it's not some spin-off. I think a lot of people online were like, "Is this some kind of spin-off?" It didn't say 8. Well, it's an infinity sign. That's an 8. Don't be dumb.
Yeah, this is a direct sequel to the other Like a Dragon game. What was that from like 4 years ago? Right?
Yep.
Like a Dragon. Okay.
Yep. Infinite Wealth now, or Infinite Wealth.
Infinite Wealth, yeah. Very clever, using the 8 sideways as an infinity sign and calling it Infinite Wealth. I'm all about
and we've never been to America in the Yakuza series, so it's like I don't know what that trailer's about, but
I know.
I gotta know more,
baby.
So
zany.
He just washes up on the shore naked, confused, and everyone starts screaming.
Imagine any other franchise revealing a game that way. Like,
I know.
Literally.
I was so happy to see
to a beloved series.
Yeah,
it's like right. At this point you're either in or you're out, and like this is either really alienating or it's catching new people in some really weird way. I don't know.
I thought it was charming as could be. Like, it was so funny, like charming and funny in the right ways. Like, to me, even if you were into the series, you see that and you go, I'm curious about this now. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like whatever this is so funny. And plus his reaction is
Mommy.
like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. How would
scares
you
the
not
fuck
know
out
that
of
you're
me.
naked? You
So
know, like,
funny.
you just-
How do you know?
Oh!
There's a part in that Sebastian Maniscalco movie about my father with Robert De Niro, and he's like, "I'm your dad. I'm
Yes.
your dad." So like, there's a part where he gets. It's in the trailer, and I've seen the trailer a gazillion times ahead of movies. But there's a part where he's like doing like some type of diving thing with a jet pack of sorts.
Yeah. Like
And
water.
he
without his
comes back
pants
up
on.
and his trunks are down, and he's like, "Yeah, look at me, woo!" And he doesn't know his trunks are down. It's the most irritating part of a trailer I've seen this year, because I'm like, you would know, you would feel the breeze
Correct.
Yeah.
Everything's
on your
out.
nards.
Everything's
out.
Immediately feel it.
Nard breeds.
Agreed.
Hey, if I had those guys' bodies, I would just play stupid too and just be like, check it out, check
What's
it out.
up?
But in real life, you would be
The
arrested.
shorts,
You'd be
the
arrested.
down.
That's true.
Not if I play stupid. I'm foreign.
Okay.
I'm foreign.
We also
Sure.
saw what I thought was maybe a new Fallout game for a split second, then I realized nope, 76. So it's an expansion
Yeah.
clike Atlantic City.
Wouldn't
I
be
actually
that
thought-
showcase without,
I was gonna say, I
not
actually
having
really
been
like
gamed.
the
I like this
trailer.
trailer a lot. Yeah,
I
this
actually
game
don't
is garbage,
think it's,
but
I don't think it's out now. They said you can get it now, like Fallout 76 they were saying, but I think the DLC comes out in a few weeks. I think. Let me
Okay.
double check that.
I think you're right.
So it's still not great. Like it's still just not something.
well,
worth-
I
people
hear
love
that
Fallout
it's got its
76.
fans
I
now,
think it works.
and like it's added a lot. It's kind of a
People
No
love
Man's
it.
Sky situation where
Sure,
it came
sure.
out a burning mess and was that way for a
I
couple
think
years.
it
but-
just it missed its mark. You
Yeah.
only get one chance to make a first impression, and
Hmm.
I bought
Bad
I
first
bought
impression.
2 copies. I was so excited, and then
Dude,
I
I
played
put
it, and I was
100
like,
hours
this
in that
sucks.
game, man. So
Yeah. Oh, so there you go. That's about as much of a sample size as you're gonna get. Okay, so yeah, Atlantic City does not have an official release date yet, but it is.
Oh, some
they were
website I
just
was
announcing
looking at for the recap was like, it's out now, and I'm like, oh, cool.
Well, okay, so it was confusing. I know why, because I kind of thought that for a second too. But they were saying Atlantic City coming soon. Go get Fallout 76 today. Like go buy, like you can go play Fallout 76 now. So it was a weird. It was just a weird way of saying like you can go play this full
Just,
game
yeah.
now. but the
Microsoft
DLC
lying
so
to us again.
confusing.
It's Microsoft lying.
Sony
to
wouldn't do this to us, guys.
us.
Okay?
Sony would
Phil
not.
Spencer purposely put this in here to be confusing, and
My
Listen,
dad.
my boy
dad
over here
has,
doesn't lie. All right, he doesn't lie. He's
My
always
dad has
telling the
played-
he
truth.
looks drunk.
Hold
and
on a
Do
minute,
not.
dude.
Do
Hold
not
on.
take him down.
Hold-
Leave him up. He deserves to be a
he-
part of this show.
He can't see the lies, so he only tells the truth because he,
Okay.
he has a thing
So
on. his
instead of
face.
repeating jokes, let me tell you new information. My dad has played 1,000 hours of Fallout 76.
1,000?
That's too much.
That's it?
1,000? And my brother has played 758. Oh my god, dude.
Bring
That's
them
all?
on the
That's all?
podcast. They don't diddle with bullshit. They play the real deal.
Here's the problem: they play
like,
those
they're really
games
connected,
forever,
man.
and if you ever ask them what's your thoughts on a game that just Diablo 4, they're like, "Oh, I don't play it."
I'm playing.
No, I don't know.
I'm drinking Nuka
Yeah,
Cola in my
They seem
Fallout
to
76
hone in
game.
on specific.
How many hours have
things.
they played Valheim?
That's a good question. They actually do play that game.
Yeah.
I can
Do
look
this
that up
every
while you
week where
go to
we
the
check
next
in with
one.
Jeff's family, how much hours they played on
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, let's keep
It's a
throwing
new
them under
Recurring
the bus.
segment. Recurring segment.
Recurring segment. What are Jeff's dad and brother playing together?
Yeah, yeah.
they genuinely do play.
The segment
play
is actually
games
called
together.
Jeff Left Out Again. That's what we're calling it.
Yeah,
So
right.
Jeff left
right.
out. My
Aw.
dad has played 1,600 hours of Valheim.
Oh my god.
My-
Tim, can you get a little more serious about your
I am
Valheim?
so far
bro?
behind. I'm
You're
so
such
far
an
behind.
amateur at loving Valheim.
Oh,
Amateur
I
My
know.
hour.
brother has played. Well, he's played 396 hours of Elden Ring. You guys are noobs if you haven't played that much.
I've definitely played at least that
He's
much.
played
I've
322 hours of Valheim. My dad must be just like
2200?
obsessive.
I don't know
Yeah,
if I've played anything
No,
for
he's played
2,200
322.
322. Yeah, my dad is the one that played
Oh,
100,
okay.
1,600. Yeah.
I
Okay,
think
okay.
I think I'm over 500 total on Valheim in 2 years.
Wow.
Jesus.
What is my dad doing? Because my brother will
I
find
feel like I've done
hacks.
everything in that game. I did all the
Like
new
for
stuff
Elden
already.
Ring, my brother found like a computer, like a keyboard hack or whatever, to just leave the game open and just farm while he's away. So he
that's
was
fun.
cheating, and my dad is not that kind of player. He'll genuinely play games. So I'm like, what are you doing for 1,000 hours? Like the statue, I put boobs on
Right
it.
now
I'm
it's
like, what are you doing?
All right, let's keep moving with our games here. Here's one I can't pronounce, so let's try this. Kunitsugami, The Path of the Goddess. Did I do it?
Nailed it.
Sounds pretty
That's-
good. Sounds
I think that's the Capcom game, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess
I
this entire
just
time I
wanna
kept
know
on
what it
trying to
was.
guess what this was, and it was a new IP all along.
Yeah. Everybody was like,
I'm glad that you knew I.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
what it is.
Onimusha?
It looks kind of like a horror version of Monster Hunter at a glance, but then it's not really that. If I'm remembering the right game, I might be remembering the wrong. Maybe that was Metaphor. That looked more like
It
that.
kept showing like a girl like dressed as like a princess and her eyes are
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking of.
But it looked
It
like you're
was
fighting
very
mobs.
horror-ish
It looked like a third-person action
More
game,
mobs,
like Devil May
like-
Cry. Or,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of what I got too. Is like it's an
Devil May
action
Cry.
game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm here for that.
Which
Yeah,
I'm
the
totally
trailer didn't show
Capcom
any
is really
gameplay,
good
so
at making
no
those
idea.
types of games, so I'm totally here for it.
And they
I'm
have
very
a-
excited for that game.
They have a showcase this week. Don't know if they'll go over this one again, but who knows?
They've said specifically it's 3 things. I forget what they were in total.
Okay.
I think Capcom does usually do that.
Dragon's
they temper
Dogma
the-
for sure. I remember them saying that's going to be.
Yeah. Which is
Okay.
exciting. So
Yeah,
I'm excited
That's
for it.
very exciting. Yeah.
Forza Motorsport was talked about and given a release date of October 10th of this year. So there's another.
Yeah.
I think those are their 2 big benchmark games for the rest of this year: Starfield in September and Forza Motorsport in October. That's a pretty good way for them to wrap up a year
Pretty good
that so
1-2
far
punch,
they've
yeah.
been kind of bashed on a lot this year, and for good reason. I get it, but they're kind of strong second half of the year. I think it's safe to say. With Starfield and Forza Motorsport. Elder Scrolls Online Journey to Necrom expansion. Oh, there it is. That's coming out on the 20th. Yeah.
I didn't even notice that you put it up there in the now playing whatever notes. So I forgot. I just totally spaced and didn't see it.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was coming out earlier. Whatever. Overwatch 2, I actually totally checked out during this part. Is this just like a DLC
It's an
or
update.
update?
It's so
Okay.
confusing. Like a week ago, they're like, "We're not doing story anymore," and then this week they're like, "Hey, we got a
It's
little
a new
bit of
story.
going on
Yeah.
here." Yeah.
All right,
What?
that comes
New
out in
characters.
August. Persona 5 Tactica, which is again something that was leaked. That's coming out November 17th
Shot
of this
Atlas.
year.
Game Pass.
Cutesy.
Gonna
It's
be on
basically
Game Pass.
Persona Fire Emblem, which
It's like Persona Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
which is
there
exciting
was-
for a lot of people. Yeah.
There was a
cute style.
game. Maybe it was RTS also on the what was it on the DS? I think of Persona 4. I swear there was a game like this of Persona 4.
Yeah, there was something like that. Yeah, I remember that.
that was
Yeah.
quite similar. So
Let's find
I like
out.
that they just milk it, and then there's a trailer later that I'm like, oh, it's Persona 6, and it's not at all.
They did an Etrian, they did like an Etrian Odyssey style Persona
Yeah.
game too. Persona
Yeah.
Q, I think it's called.
oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of then.
Yeah, I think that's
what
maybe
I'm
what you're
thinking
thinking of. Yeah.
And I don't. Maybe it wasn't just 4 then, because now I'm thinking also.
It was 4 and 3. It was.
Yeah,
characters
that's
from 4
what it
and 3.
was.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it was time for 5 to.
Yes.
RTS.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
This next game I think is also a Don't Nod game, and it's called Jusant. Wasn't that Don't Nod? With just the
Yeah, I
Jusant?
think you're right. I think it
I
is.
think you're right. Yeah.
This one looks really interesting. So we'll have to wait and see what it's actually like. What do you guys
They're
think?
really
of
busy
it?
all the time. I feel
You're
like they got
literally
3
just
games
climbing.
coming out.
I think that's it.
Yeah, it looks kind of neat. I don't know if like it's actually fun to play, but it's a unique way
They
of
use
exploring.
the word meditative to describe the gameplay, so I assume it's not for people that like fun. It's for like people that like chilling, relaxing.
Oh, so they've taken all the most fun, compelling gameplay parts of Uncharted 4 and turned it into an entire game. Cool.
Yeah, pretty, just me doing this on
Just
a
climbing.
That's my least favorite part of the climbing is like your hand reaches over and I'm like, yeah, touch the rock.
Yeah,
Move
just
over.
grab it.
That's their way of
Just
telling
grab
you to hit X now. He goes like this.
Oh, let me
just jump for you. Still Wakes the Deep. It was a very kind of, I thought, pretty vague trailer, but clearly something creepy happening coming out in June
Or,
this year. So definitely some
Yeah.
creepy
Or
creepers.
on an oil platform type of
I
thing.
think
Yeah.
this is I think that's a Game Pass game too, by the way. But
Okay. But I don't think
there's a developer I was familiar with.
it was one of those things where, if I remember correctly, it just kind of showed you the environment, but you don't really.
It's from
see
the Amnesia, one of the Amnesia developers. So.
Okay.
Oh, and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. I love that game. But
That
yeah,
sounds
so
like
it's
a
probably
good
just
setting.
walking simulator.
Good setting on an oil rig. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Dungeons of Hinterberg coming out in 2024 as well. I thought this one looked pretty cool, and my son was watching with me too, and he was like, "Ooh, like this is definitely in his."
Hinterberg.
wheelhouse."
I love the
So-
art style. Yeah.
Yeah, the art style looks great. He kept saying it. He was like, "This art style looks awesome." So, yeah, looks
I
interesting.
am your son, is what I'm trying to say. I'm your son.
Guys, I don't know if you knew this. I am Jeff's father.
Wow.
No.
What a season 6 twist.
It's impossible.
Yeah, this is
What
the
a
twist we've all been
twist.
waiting for. I'm 60 years old. Okay, so we've got
Look good
Cyberpunk
for this.
2077, the Phantom Liberty expansion, and we got a Keanu Reeves
Got
appearance.
Keanu back. He was so
Oh.
goofy.
This
Yeah.
Was there
he
another
loves-
breathtaking
I
moment?
love
Was
how
it-
he talks with this. I'm just. so happy
He's
to be
so
here.
awkward. I love it. I love it.
I
You know
love
what
it. I
think
love
is
him
great?
so
Like,
much.
between him and Nick
Yeah.
Cage, we had some pretty fun celebrity appearances.
Yeah.
this
It
past
felt like E3 with all the celebrities.
It
for
felt like
sure.
E3. It really did. What do you guys think about the Phantom Liberty expansion trailer?
I think
Looks
this looks
awesome.
Yeah, I think it looks so cool. And I know that they're like, because it's like story first, like they're telling a cohesive story, that it's gonna have those like Witcher 3 expansion vibes where it's just like, hey, the
is
story
the
in
whole
these are
game.
actually better than the story in the real game, you know? So
and it's
like,
gonna might even feel like a full game when you
Yeah.
get
I
it.
like
and
that
I
it's
feel like it will.
coming
I think
so soon too.
it
September,
is,
yeah.
September, yeah. It's the
Just
week
feel like
after
there was a
my
lot
birthday.
going on. They're introducing a lot of
September.
new characters.
So many games in September.
Go look at October.
I know, it's
ridiculous.
October's
I don't want to. I'm
stupid.
afraid.
October's
Everything
disrespectful.
filled up.
afraid.
We're not even done with the not E3 week, and like
I
it's
know.
filled. Everything's filled up
Ubisoft's
already.
gonna
Yeah.
drop
you know?
something this fall, right?
The only
Yeah,
thing
they
is,
will.
like,
They have to.
every developer is looking at the roadmap for the rest of the year and going, I guess we should just pick November or December. Jesus.
Oh, never mind. Ubisoft already has the Assassin's Creed for October. Yeah. Anyway,
I bet they might have something else. I wouldn't be surprised
have
if they have something
Beyond
else.
Maybe
Good
not
and Evil
like
2.
maybe not like a
Beyond Good and Evil 2. You heard it here first,
There you go.
guys. Yeah.
December.
maybe not like a AAA, but
I think like a smaller game. Yeah.
I would love to be proven wrong with some of these things that we all joke about, like whether it's Beyond Good and Evil 2 or like Skull and
Sure.
Bones actually have. Like, it'd be fun to be
Yeah.
proven wrong. It's just, but
Yeah,
until then, we're
I'm
gonna keep
open
making
to be
fun.
wrong about it, but it's not. Gonna
I don't.
happen, so.
I'm at a conundrum about Cyberpunk 2077. So I beat it on PC. I haven't beat it on. I own it on PS5. Haven't beaten it there.
Hmm.
So like, should I just stick with the PC run to do the expansion, or actually plow through the console version now that it's working?
PC's
Plow.
always better.
It's a massive game.
PC is. I had a better experience on PC.
I'm
at the
pretty
time,
sure you might want to
but
check
now
this,
things are
Jeff, but I'm
different.
pretty sure they released an update that gives you saves across everything.
Oh,
I'm like almost
Okay,
100%
cool.
sure.
you know
yeah.
what? I think you're right.
Check
'cause
on that, but
I think you're right, and I just blanked on it because
They have
I
like a
opted
CD
for a new
Projekt account
playthrough.
you create.
yeah, they have a CD
Yeah.
Projekt account now that you just like bounce. You can bounce your.
If
Because I
Kyle's
remember being
wrong,
like,
call
oh,
him
I
out
don't
on
want to
the
like
next
restart my
podcast.
game on Steam Deck. And I looked it up, and it's like, oh no, I can get my PS5 save and put it on the Steam Deck if I want.
That's
to.
how it worked with The Witcher between the Switch and the PC.
It did, yeah.
Sweet, okay.
It just started.
So
yeah.
I'll just give it a test run before the game comes out and
Yeah,
test
so
it on PS5.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Sweet. Nice.
Derek, what'd you say, or were you just complaining about something?
He was just saying PC's master race. That's all he was saying.
I was saying that if Kyle's lying, call him out on the next podcast.
Yeah,
So-
Kyle,
Well,
don't be lying.
Yeah,
He
please,
wasn't, so
please,
promotion.
Get me on Twitter. if
Well,
I'm
he
wrong.
normally shares false things all the time. So
He normally
Yeah.
shares
Oh
false
yeah,
things.
yeah. That's what I'm known for. That's my MO. Yeah.
100% of
Out
the
of-
time, 60%.
Out of all of us, Kyle is definitely the biggest liar.
He's the biggest.
Yeah.
liar.
absolutely.
Yeah, is that what
Um,
we're doing? We're giving me a new character trait. Yeah.
We are.
We call him
Well,
we call him MK,
Big season
misleading
6 twist
Kyle.
and character development here on CG.
It was
so
a new arc.
we,
It's a new arc for the show.
we got a new trailer and release date for City Skylines 2, which I think actually looks really pretty, coming out October 24th. If you like city builders, right? I understand it's not for
It
everybody.
looked like almost photorealistic. in
It
some
looked
of the-
really cool.
Yeah.
And it's coming to Game Pass as well. So that's one that I will 100% be trying on the PC because I do love a good city builder. So that'll be a fun one to have come out this fall as well. Metaphor de Fantasio, which
It's a very
Yes.
Italian name for a Japanese game.
yeah, that one-
It's their hit at a Western fantasy game. So like
Yeah.
they're trying to do like
I
a.
am excited for this.
They've been
one.
talking about this game for years, man. And like,
I thought it was
the
Shin
fact
Megami Tensei. 100%.
that- It is. I mean, it basically is. It's It's the same team.
It's got a Persona
Oh,
type.
It is-
this
it
is that
it
fantasy
is-
game.
It is that team's
That they've been
version of
talking
a
about.
Western
I
fantasy
got
or
you.
European
So,
style
like,
fantasy game.
As
you
I was
know?
watching it, the characters, the art style, I was like, oh, this is
So,
Shin
yeah,
I was
it's the same
waiting for
team,
Shin
yeah.
Megami Tensei 7 or something. Like
Yeah.
I was, or whatever the next one is, 6, whatever the next one is. But nope, it's a totally new IP,
Yeah, I
right?
think
So
like
the-
Project P does Persona, and another team does all the Shin Megami Tensei games.
Yeah,
and this
they
is
had-
from the creators of Persona
That's
3, 4, and
cool.
5, but from the team that does Shin Megami Tensei. So.
Love
They
it.
announced this
Wow.
years ago, right? I'm
Yeah,
vaguely
they
remembering the
talked
fantasy.
about doing a fantasy game a while ago
Yeah.
without giving too much more information. So.
Okay, so
Okay.
this is the first reveal of something.
Yeah,
people
yeah,
have
it
known
was
they've been
really
working
big.
on.
Like the entire time, I was like,
That's-
I cannot believe Microsoft is showing this. This is crazy.
God.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm excited. I am actually
that comes
glad
out
it's a
next
new
year.
IP.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I think the Shin Megami.
There'll be familiar
series is
elements with the
cool.
demons, but everything's
Yes,
Yeah.
it's nice to start like on a fresh, like
Yeah.
a fresh franchise.
I feel about it. Too.
And then they showed this game that gave me very strong kind of Castle Crashers vibes in terms of the gameplay, and that was Towerborn. I don't know if it's going to play like that, but it looks like a multiplayer hack and slash game, like as you run, like arcadey style. But the art style was great, and I had it on my phone as we're all kind of eating lunch and people were coming and going, but all the kids kind of paused and looked because we've played a ton of Castle Crashers together in our family, and everyone's like, that might be our next kind of everyone at the TV together game. It looks like a lot of fun.
Dude, yeah, I'm such a sucker for like side scroller 4-player co-op games.
Me too.
So,
yeah, I mean,
like sign me up.
We flew through the Ninja Turtles game, loved it, and so like we love those kind of games.
This is from the Banner Saga developer.
But it's a different vibe, for them, which is cool.
It is.
Yeah,
interesting.
And it's a Game Pass game. Another Game Pass one.
Another Game Pass game coming in 2024.
That's awesome.
Now, we didn't get a date for this next one, but I am fascinated by the look. It kind of has a BioShock vibe, and that's called Clockwork Revolution. And a little bit of a time travel, like, I went back and changed something and not actually kind of ruined the future, trying to do something good. It has that vibe to it, and it really looks cool, like this kind of steampunk BioShocky looking thing. It looks great, man. It looks
so I think awesome,
I think the devs for this team are from the original Fallout game.
Interesting.
They have
it's In Exile is the name of the team.
Exile, yeah.
Okay, that's
like
cool.
the first Fallout, like the original Fallout. Oh wow. Okay.
They did
isn't it the Wasteland? It's the Wasteland guys, right?
Yeah.
Wasteland. Yeah,
Wasteland developer. Oh,
yeah.
And the canceled heist game. R.I.P.
So I'm excited to see what they do.
I thought this trailer was awesome. I thought it was super cool.
It was outstanding.
Little
the
Dishonored.
entire time go ahead.
I was gonna say a little bit Dishonored, a little bit BioShock. Like, looks really neat.
Yeah, big time.
But in the Game Pass, day one.
Game Pass, but I think it is multi-platform, right? Or is this Xbox?
There's no way that Game Pass is viable or profitable.
Well, I think
In
Exile is owned by Xbox. I'm pretty
is it?
sure.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
It's got a Steam listing, so it's coming. Obviously, it's coming to PC on.
Well,
Steam.
all their games are coming to Steam. Like we're getting Starfield's coming to Steam. All of them are coming to Steam.
That better be Steam Deck verified. I tell you.
Better be.
I'm gonna play it. I will buy that game twice, dude. I'm not even kidding you.
I will play it on Game Pass, and if I fall in love with it, like I think there's a high chance that I will. I could totally see myself buying a copy on Steam just to play on Steam Deck. I could totally.
I'm buying it on Steam. I bought Redfall on Steam. I bought Redfall on.
Derek, we told you to stop admitting this in public.
Yeah. I was gonna keep that secret for you, buddy.
Yeah.
You know?
Derek, you have a problem. You have.
Yes, I fall for all the fall games. That's what I do.
And then they revealed this new Xbox Series S with a 1 terabyte SSD with this carbon black color. It looks really sharp. I think it looks great. And that's coming out on
better
September
than the
1st.
stereo speaker for sure. Yes,
it looks really nice.
I agree. I'm actually in the middle of watching this showcase. I was like, I'm getting the Series X. This is dumb that I'm like avoiding the Series S as much as possible and playing on PC when my PC can't really handle a game like Starfield or think big. I can't. My PC can't really do the 4K quality I want on the larger games. So I was tired. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get a Series X now. I ordered it through. They're all available on Microsoft's website for now. Good luck finding it at third-party retailers. But so I got it through there. It's going to arrive on Wednesday. I'm selling my Series S. GameStop will give you like 140 for it, which is great.
Oh, okay. It's not bad.
Yeah. So I was just tired of looking at that console and like being like, I'm never going to play this freaking console.
I'm trying to chase down a Halo right now, a Halo version of the console. So.
Oh, nice.
I will say that
that's the one I want. Yeah.
This showcase, I think, has given them another surge in hardware sales, which is awesome. Because people are like, ooh, got to get that Xbox.
I feel like, because I had the same thought, Jeff, like halfway through this, I was like, boy, it's time to upgrade that S then, like, and then there were enough there where I'm like, I want to make sure I'm playing these games that are now,
you know my
in the
dilemma.
best looking,
we have the same
way possible.
We have the same TV, so you know my dilemma. Like,
I'm not playing Starfield in like kind of 4K.
Exactly. 1440.
Kind of 4K.
Yeah.
I can't play it at 30 frames.
I can't do it. It's impossible.
It's
impossible.
All right,
but
guys.
This one is a 3. I think the S is what, 300.
Yeah.
So
this one's 350.
350.
It's not
because of the higher memory, right?
You're pretty much paying for the storage.
I mean, it's more for the memory and the paint job, man.
The additional storage is actually more expensive. So.
It is. That's true.
My only issue with it, and I was fighting with somebody in the unlock group, but just
You
to
were?
be a pain, just to be a pain in the ass. I actually agree with them. I was
That doesn't sound right.
Just having a
So
board
wait, you
Sunday.
didn't have
All
any
sounds so on
legitimate
brand.
concerns to express. You just wanted to be a dick.
That's so
Okay.
awesome.
completely trolling the guy.
No, I'm
but
ready to
anyways,
hear.
his point is that he was upset that this is $350 because you can buy a PS5 digital for $400 and you don't have to deal with like the lower specs. And I agree. Yes, you get more
True.
storage with this one, but $50, like that's the $100 gap is better. And you can
is.
get a Series S. They're always on sale. Like literally today, one was on sale for $240 at Best Buy.
Yeah.
So I really think the 350. I thought they should have released this at $300.
Like
I really-
replace the other one,
Yeah,
right?
like sell like
Because
drop
Or
the
just
price
like
of the other
325
ones.
if they insist on doing
Yeah,
increments of
that's,
25.
I agree.
Yeah.
SSD is a lot cheaper now. Like you can get a 500 gigabyte SSD for $50. You can get a 1 terabyte SSD. I'm talking internal for $75. So they could have priced this at $300.
And
They
also, the expansion as an SSD, the Seagate one. So there's finally a
Yeah.
third party was able to come up with a cheaper option that's like, because I think the Seagate one, which is
Yeah,
a
well, that one's
terabyte, I think that
too
one's like
expensive.
150. Yeah, I think that one's 150 or something like that. or
Yeah,
200.
it goes on sale and it's like $20 off. I bought
Yeah.
it, but
But there's a cheaper option now that's like I think 100 or 90. So it's not that much cheaper, but it matters.
Hey, it matters.
So then they wrapped things up with, as they promised, shifting right into the Starfield Direct, where they gave a deep dive on this game. And I will be honest, I watched a couple of minutes, and I kind of scrubbed through a little bit because I was behind. I kind of started the showcase a little late, and then I was like, I'm super sold on this game. I was already excited because I love No Man's Sky. I love Halo. I think this looked really cool. I didn't get all the hate that it was getting, but whatever. And I'm just as sold now as I was then. And I was like, I don't need to see anything else. Like I want to explore. Like I'm good. So I was also doing other things. So it wasn't that I didn't want to see it. I just didn't watch all of it, just because like I'm all.
It's
in
an
on
hour,
Starfield.
dude. It's also really long, so I get it.
So I didn't really need to hear them talk about all the extra stuff that's in the game. Like I will discover it as I play it because I will play this game. I'm very excited for it. What do you guys think of the Starfield Direct?
This is exactly how I want all game reveals to be. This is
liked it.
Like when you're talking about like, hey, I need to show a game and how it works and sell a game to a crowd or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this is as in depth and as a checkboxy as it needs to be. To explain kind of what your game is.
They answered all the questions I had and all the ones that I didn't know I had until they started revealing stuff. And then I was like, well, wait, you're overwhelming me. Like when they first started explaining everything, I'm like, you're overwhelming me. I don't know if I like this. And then they kept going. And I was like, oh, thank you. You're alleviating like a little bit of like, this is dramatic, but any anxiety I had on what this game was going to be. I liked it. Yeah, I understand it went for, 50 minutes, an hour, whatever. But I felt like not only were they revealing a lot of information, but also just hearing the staff give their perspective. And some of the stuff I actually liked is like one of the ladies, she's kind of high up. She's like, yeah, when I play this game, I just kill everybody and take their stuff. And I was like, oh, marry me now.
Marry me now.
I have a sandwich collection.
Yeah, was that the one?
Yeah,
Like,
she had
I
a
steal their
sandwich
sandwiches and I just collect them and hoard them on my ship.
I was like, she collects sandwiches, she kills everybody, and she takes their stuff. I was like,
she's a serial killer.
It was
skips dialogue.
It was super fun to hear like all different types of employees.
Yeah.
And like
It
my
wasn't
favorite
just
part
Todd
was,
Howard the whole time.
No. Yeah, they did a really good job.
And he wasn't wearing a leather jacket.
He wasn't. Yeah, I lost that bet. Dude, I lost
upsetting.
$5 on that.
No.
Not a cardigan either, though, unfortunately.
This is
lost-
why I
he lost
called
his
you
swagger.
MK. That's misinformation, Kyle. That was misinformation.
What was he wearing? What was he wearing?
A t-shirt.
Just a
Like
shirt.
a budget
Pajamas.
shirt, I think.
No, I'm just kidding.
Pajamas.
He was shirtless.
He was
yeah.
just smoking a cigar. and
Onesie.
You
pajamas.
guys are
He was
gonna
in a hot tub.
love this game.
Just in a hot tub.
Yes.
I don't even give a fuck.
He's just like, just roll the tape. I don't even care.
It
He
just
coughed his way through that word because he was smoking a cigar.
Well, like, so like what Derek was saying, where it kind of felt overwhelming sometimes, where like you can build your ship. I'm like, I don't want to do
I don't
that.
want
That
to
sounds
do that.
complicated. And it's like, look how easy it is. If you snap this piece on, you can snap this on. If you see it in your head, you can dream it. If you dream it, you can build it. And like they were just saying like how easy it was and how like it will explain what you're putting on your ship and what it's going to do for it and how it might add like extra space to walk around for crew and yada yada. Like it's just like they did a really good job of showing you how big and deep something was, but also going, but don't worry guys, it's very
really
user friendly, and it's really easy, and you're going to have a perfectly fine time with all these mechanics, and synchronizing in a really interesting way.
Yeah, there's somebody that's like, I insist on building my ship to look like animals, and it was just like a montage.
It was pretty cool looking.
Too. Yeah, it was awesome.
This is my platypus ship, and this is my dog.
I was like, I actually want to.
Some guy built
that.
a mech, and like his mech off. And
wow.
I saw something, and I'm guessing they said it during the presentation because I haven't watched it yet, that this is double the size of their biggest game.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah,
there's
so it's like
1,000 planets, and then
double the size of their biggest game.
Yeah,
and not every planet's going to be like story driven or
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah, some are just
actually made me happy because I was like, I don't want to visit 1,000 planets.
Yeah.
But it sounded like it was very Mass Effect in that you can visit any planet and there's probably a resource that you want.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's specific planets that will be like part of the story or character stories. But also you could just kind of like when you explore Fallout or something, where maybe you just run into a cave or something like that, or a building, and you just kind of explore and you find out there's enemies there, there's loot there, there's a lot of stuff that you can just explore on every planet. So I don't know. They did a good job of making me feel like, yes, this game's big, but it doesn't at the same time feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
That is impressive because it's I mean, space, like actual space is infinite. So you're trying to replicate that in a video game, and you have the like you're saying 1,000 planets. Like if they did a good enough job where it's like this doesn't actually feel that overwhelming, then it seems like the systems are what they need to be.
He mentioned as he showed the space map of like, okay, now we're in this solar system, and then we zoom out. And the way he phrased it, like, and now you can see all the solar systems in this galaxy as if there's more than one galaxy you can.
Sure.
And you have to upgrade your ship, so you can't like
get that far.
This
you can't just go far immediately.
Go wherever you want.
I love that restriction. They
made
you know immediately. They're like, you're not going to be able to just go anywhere you want to immediately. Like this is within your scope. This like Goldilocks zone of planets or whatever. But as you get bigger and better stuff, you can go deeper into space and everything.
But it's designed. It's not, and this is not a knock on No Man's Sky because I still adore that game. I don't care what people say. I love that game. Yeah. But that's procedurally generated, and I don't think I got even close to. I don't even know if I got triple digits on the number of planets I visited total. Maybe I did, but like. And that they, of course, what do they have, like millions or whatever it is they tout? Like there's infinite number because it keeps generating more. I don't know what it is.
It's an obscene amount, yeah.
But I'm like, I don't need, like, it's cool to know that, but it didn't actually help me enjoy the game more. If they had told me they created 500 planets, I still wouldn't have hit them all yet in all my time of No Man's Sky. So to know that there's 1,000 that have been designed,
of what's on the planet.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
That's
one. And the star map, like,
design are good.
Yeah,
the star map that made it really seem like it was pushing. Like, if you go to this planet, you're probably going to hit some story stuff. If you go here, there might be some side stuff, you know what I mean? So it's like it looked like it was all the game was trying to guide you in a direction to get an adventure going on. Yeah. But if you didn't want to follow anything, you could just bounce off and go to that blue planet over there.
Well, it's like Zelda, right? I mean, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are really good.
Zelda in space, where it's like you can do whatever you want. Well, within limitations, you are limited in the beginning.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want, go in any direction. But if you do, like I do, when I play open world games, if you have, and this is my only question mark, is there a story? What is the story?
Yeah, there's a main story. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just curious what it is.
Me too.
If it's interesting or if it's stupid. Because I actually thought Fallout 4's story was good. I liked the reveal. I liked Fallout 3's story. I liked the reveal. So they have the ability to tell a intriguing story in these open world, endless explorer games. And I really am hoping Starfield will have that as well. So I went, like I said, I went from like 6.5, maybe a 7 to now it's like it's September yet? And can I get early access?
That's cool. 10 out of 10 hype right now.
That's cool.
I actually like went into this completely forgetting to be hyped about this, even though I had this on my beginning of the year list of most anticipated games for this year. This was probably 10 or 9. Like even then I was underselling how I truly felt about this game, because I just didn't see enough by this point.
Yeah.
But having seen 40 plus minutes of
you
it,
couldn't play it at 30 frames per second. You knew
it was
you
that.
knew.
It was that. I was
So
like, it's gonna be 30
that's
frames,
actually-
so who cares? But
That's
like,
the next headline, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll definitely touch on that, unfortunately, because the never ending.
We got to
the
get
most
negative.
important
We
thing.
got to get negative. We've been too
FPS.
positive.
But like seeing this, and like, I mean, it's my background for a reason. It's pretty much like the Star Trek game I always kind of wanted of which Mass Effect Andromeda was already kind of doing that. But this is way more of a sandbox. Like, it's way more of a playground and do what you want type of thing. And the freaking artwork on some of the stuff that they were showing off, like the collectibles, I'm not even like, I'm more hyped about the collectibles in the game, which is so weird. But like
that is weird.
The what's the collector's edition? I forget. Constellation, I think. Constellation edition. That's the name, and I think that's the name of the organization that you're a part of. It's like the NASA company. And the box art is beautiful. It comes with a smartwatch that you actually use in game for like communications and stuff. It's like the same design.
That reminds me of what was it, the Pip-Boy that you got with, what was it called?
They even showed that when they said, "Hey, you know that we like to do stuff like this," and they showed the Pip-Boy.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's the same. Like the artwork or like the color schemes and stuff like that for the Xbox headset kind of blew me away. The controller looks great. I mean, they went really above and beyond in like every regard in this game.
I like how they described the style they went with as NASA punk.
NASA punk,
NASA punk.
Well,
I was like, that's a good way to
reminds me of
describe it.
Interstellar.
I was a little worried because when they kept on using that NASA punk like nomiker, I was like, oh, okay, well, I hope there's like some room for innovation or kind of cool stuff, or maybe stuff that I like in sci-fi, which is Western. And there's a whole planet or town that's a cowboy Western town.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, all right. They knew exactly what people were gonna say.
Dude, you know what's cool about that too? That there's a screenshot from the 2022 build where that was not a Western town, so they changed it. They changed it to make it look like a Western town, which is awesome.
Cool. The guy was wearing a cowboy hat and everything.
Yeah,
it was
they were like, "Oh wait, what's that?" Kyle wants a Western. All right, come on.
Okay. He lost Skyrim 17 times. We better do this.
It's like when you're on Kobo in the latest Jedi game, where it's like, why is everyone Southern out here?
Yeah. Same vibes. Yeah, I was like, they did it. They did the Western.
They did it. That's what I need.
Even the aliens are like, "What are you doing around these
Hey
parts?
there,
alien."
And they're spitting tobacco.
Like what?
Space tobacco.
I also love the space, I guess you'd call it combat, whatever you're doing, like dogfights and stuff like that.
Yeah, the space.
And how like it's kind of got that Fallout. What do you call the zoom in thing? It's not the same exact thing. VATS. But it's not slowing down time or nothing, but it does let you focus on a specific part of the enemy ship that you'll want to attack. That will make your attack mean more.
So, and I really liked how they're like, you could blow out like their engines and then dock them and then kill everybody and then steal their ship and then add that ship to your fleet. You can have a fleet of ships.
Space pilot.
Yeah. And then they're talking about like you're gonna have a crew that you're hiring on. You find crew members like in side missions and stuff like that, or just through world events and everything like that. And then you can put those guys who are good at certain things on certain jobs for your outpost or your ship, and like that will like increase productivity for like there are so many like this game needed an hour. You know what I mean?
Like Fallout.
It needed an hour to explain.
It's all those
like when they were showing
off
off Cyberpunk for the first time at E3. They did an hour behind closed doors. Like this is all that you're going to be doing in this game, and it's like we hadn't gotten that yet for this. So there, for me, there was a lot of like, well, what are you doing in this game other than like walking and shooting and looting? Like, but there's
a lot of that stuff sounds like
it
sounds like the No Man's Sky stuff they've added. But the problem with the No Man's Sky version of that stuff, like you can recruit people to go back to your base and to go on your fleet, and you can grow your fleet. But a lot of that is a little bit, again, small team, totally get it. To indie developer, like it's very different. Like Hello Games compared to Bethesda, apples and oranges. I understand that.
Yeah.
But like it's pretty obtuse and sometimes weird hoops you have to jump through to get there in No Man's Sky. Like I've done some of it, and it's like,
the tutorials.
All right, that wasn't super intuitive. Like I see kind of, but like this, clearly there's going to be an easy player path to do those things, and I'm very excited for that.
In September still, huh?
Like, and actually, by
September 6th,
September 6th. Actually, technically, it's the first or the second if you get an early, not early access, but if you get a deluxe edition or above, you get 5 days.
Well,
so
here's the cool
Game
thing
Pass,
about
you have to
Game
wait till the
Pass.
6th, but, right.
Well,
it's still Game Pass.
Game Pass, you can pay the $30 more, and you can get.
Yeah, it's like Forza.
You get the
oh yeah, Forza did that too. That's right. Yeah. That's cool. I forgot about that. That's awesome.
All right, we don't have to spend a lot of time on this. It's fun to joke about it, but we got other things to talk about. do you guys think it actually is impactful? Do you think it's a big deal that Starfield is locked at 30 FPS on Xbox Series X and S, of course? Thoughts on
if
that?
I wasn't a PC gamer, I would be okay with it. Like I would be more accepting of it. I know I had issues with Redfall, not before I played it. It was after I played Redfall that I felt like it was janky. I expect this to be a little bit better than Redfall. Redfall was more broken than I expect Starfield
You mean
to be.
performance-wise?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It just wasn't. It
I thought
was
you meant
not.
overall. I was like, I think it's going to be a little better than Redfall. Yeah.
Well, the reason I'm saying we don't know for sure is because Bethesda isn't always perfect either when they release their game.
Yeah. No, they're not.
But I just don't think it's going to be as big of a deal. And we talked about it before we started recording the show. If it was strictly a first-person shooter, like action-oriented first-person shooter, yes. If we were playing Doom, 30 frames per second could be annoying. This can be played in third person. It's still an RPG, which means there's going to be more than just shooting. There's going to be other things you can do to kill enemies. I just don't see this being that big of a deal. I also think that the fact that this game is like a universe, you kind of got to cut it some slack. They're doing 4K, and I think what's his name came out and made a statement and said, Todd Howard said, we were okay with 30 frames per second because we didn't want to cut out the visuals of the game. Like we didn't want to have to cut things out to hit like higher frames.
They made the decision to prioritize the resolution. Yeah, they were like, we wanted to lock the resolution because we wanted to keep the fidelity, and we didn't want gamers to have to worry about toggling back and forth. They were just like, let's just lock it and remove the choice. And I get some people are like, I want the choice though, and I'm like, I don't really care personally.
There's a lot of moving parts to these games, man. They're just so big and dense. Like
I don't want the choice.
And he made the comparison too. He was like,
it,
all our other games are like this. All our other games are 30 FPS locked. So in this gen, so
I mean,
it's not really any different.
Again, it's like with anything else in the past, like, with difficulty levels, like if they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. So respect the developer and deal with it. Like either you don't play it or
you have to live in reality, and you have to look at the scope of games. We've talked about this before. You can't compare an open world / open universe game to a smaller title and be like, well, it can do 4K at 60. Why can't this game? Or why can't you just do your little magic slider and pull it down to 1440p and that will raise it up to 60 frames per second? It doesn't work that way. So let them make their decisions. I personally think 30 is fine. I am going to play on PC because I want my 60 plus frames per second, but that's not the only reason why I'm playing on PC. I just think for the Xbox Series X, it's good. It's still acceptable because of the scope of the game. If this was a smaller title, I wouldn't be saying that. I'd be like, why can't you get a 60? But this is a huge game. I really think 30 was that was my expectation. I never expected 60.
I knew it was going to be 30, and people were going to there were going to be articles. People were going to be like 30,
When we gave Red Dead Redemption 2 a 10 out of 10 just a few short years ago, that was 30 frames per second.
Guess what that played in?
Never mind that, Today
well, Kyle, that was a game in the past. Your cowboy game in the past.
That was a different time, dude.
Yeah, right. Yeah, past cowboy game can run slower, right?
Yeah.
All right, so since that, I don't think that's huge news for us. I understand for some people it is. Whatever, we'll make fun of them a different time. Let's move on.
The outrage hasn't hit those people yet.
Yeah,
you're a silly person if you're.
We'll talk about that later. New Pikmin 4 trailer was announced. Speaking of Nintendo, we were talking about Nintendo, right? No, we weren't. They revealed the character creation system, which is new for the Pikmin series. So that's kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
So that's still scheduled for July, I think 21st, or 22nd, somewhere.
I vouchered that one, by the way.
Did you?
And I've never played a Pikmin game before.
I think that one's going to be adorable and super fun. I'm hoping one of my kids really wants to get it. That way I have an excuse to spend some money on it, because I'm trying to budget out the rest of my year. It's very difficult right now with game purchases. So I'm trying to budget out what to actually buy and whatever else. So Pikmin 4 is one of those that I'm a maybe on, but if one of my kids really wants it, then I could be like, oh, come on, hon, let's get it for the kids.
They've been good lately, They've been good.
Absolutely.
And you're like, yes, sweet, downloading.
Downloading.
It's for the kids.
Tomorrow morning, I hope none of you have work, because the Final Fantasy 16 demo will be available, and it'll be ready to download and play, and the progress will carry over into the full game.
Yeah, baby.
Here in a couple.
I'm glad you found that detail. I didn't even know that. That's cool.
Derek,
I think they announced that afterwards. Yeah.
So that is awesome, and so that's tomorrow. By the way, when I say tomorrow, we're recording this on
Um,
Sunday, June 11th. That's tomorrow, June 12th, 4 a.m. Eastern time. It'll be available.
We're all gonna set our
In
alarms
case,
for.
I don't know if you guys knew, I don't know if you care, if you want to see more, but they did a Final Fantasy 16 presentation with Maximilian Dude. So they cover a lot of stuff in
It was
there.
a
if
whole
you
day
want-
event today. It was a whole day event, which was interesting.
celebrating.
Yeah,
the
Wait,
best.
Dan, you watched that even, and you didn't watch the Xbox?
No, I didn't watch
Oh.
it. No. I was aware that it was like going on for like half the day.
There were headlines that came out from it too.
Yeah, gotcha.
Cool. This is a little.
good.
This is fine. This is okay.
Dan, tell me about this whole like Platinum Games and Kingdom Hearts 4 thing with 16. What is that about?
Yeah, they just apparently they had people from over at Platinum, from over at the Kingdom Hearts teams. To me, it's like a big show of like, listen, like we're gonna do this like pretty much fully leaning into action Final Fantasy game. Like we want to get this right. Because everyone wants to say this, that, and the other about not my Final Fantasy because it's an action game, but like
Not my
you can't
Final
argue if the combat at the end of the day is pretty excellent.
You hired the guy who created Devil May Cry action and the guy who created the Marvel vs. Capcom 2, like two arguably greatest fighting mechanics in all of gaming.
It sounds
ever.
like
and then you bring in Platinum, and then you bring in the Kingdom Hearts guy. Like it's just. Obviously, it's an Avengers team of developing like this this action.
Too many cooks in the
like
kitchen.
If you
it's want to
create like a action game, you pull in Platinum. If you want to create an open world game, for some reason you bring in the Xenoblade Chronicles guys, and like everybody's just doing this.
Grab them in.
Just bring.
They don't actually create games anymore.
It's
they
a
just
cameo with
sell
a K.
themselves out
cameo
to each.
Cameo with a K.
Dude, USP reached out for the Mjolnir and he grabbed it, and then he said Avengers Assemble, and they all just ran. All the developers just started running.
He is worthy.
Well, don't forget that tomorrow we got a couple more showcases. We got Ubisoft Forward, we got Capcom, whatever showcase. I forget what they're calling it. It's just, I think just showcase from Capcom. Those are both tomorrow. And
Well,
if you listen
good.
to this
Then
part
I'll
today,
figure out what that game was that they announced today, because I was intrigued, but I have no idea what it is.
if they show anything of it, like Dan was saying,
They
usually
will.
stick
They will.
to like the Capcom usually sticks to like what they're already planning on talking about. But
Yeah, I
we'll
forget
see.
what the other two things are, but yeah.
But Ubisoft, of course, really excited to see gameplay from this new
Dragon's
Star
Dogma
Wars
2.
game, Dragon's Dogma 2
Dogma.
from Capcom, of course. And then what else does Ubisoft have? Are they going to talk about the Avatar game, or is that kind of like Skull and Bones, where they're quiet?
They
about
said in advance Avatar is going to be talked about,
Right.
and it's by the
Star
Avatar
Wars.
is by the same people doing the Star Wars game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're doing both
Now,
games
listen,
at the same time.
I understand, and
Wow.
I understand why. I'm not saying it doesn't deserve it. I understand that Avatar.
Tomorrow's going to be an awesome day too.
Avatar as an IP is an easy target. Totally get it. I'm pretty excited if that game ends up being an open world, real
yes.
That game
exploration.
is
Telling
built
you,
to be a
I
video
really
game. That
like
world
Way
is
of
built
the
to be a video
Water.
game.
I think this could be a fun game.
You can explore
in a fun
Pandora, and it
universe.
looks at least decent, if not
If I could
great.
fly around,
They'll
on
make
one of
it
those
look good. I'm
things
not
that
worried
you
about looks.
do
It
tail
would
sex
be
with
whether
or
it's
whatever.
fun.
You
Yeah. I want a tail sex minigame. I want to
Yeah, I
know.
want a tail sex minigame too.
Press X.
wiggle the
tail
R
sex.
stick.
Tail sex. Press X to
All right, so we've got tomorrow's gonna be a fun day. Some more things being revealed. And there might be a few others that I'm forgetting, some lingering ones, but there were a couple other showcases this week that we did not react to yet. So I just wanted to bring those up really quick. One of them, I just have to talk about how freaking fun the Devolver showcase was.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It was actually kind of like watching a really short episode of Black Mirror in a way.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe that I got from it. So if you haven't watched it, I won't really quote unquote spoil it. But they're
I'm
just
glad
very
it's not really a spoiler, but I'll just say I'm glad they kind of went away from the same woman doing it every year.
She had a very small part in it this time.
Yeah, but they kind of drifted away from the narrative
Different
they've been
storyline.
telling for the past like 5-6 years, and they're
storyline.
doing something different with like AI
Agreed.
now, which is fun.
Agreed. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting and then very dark, and it took some weird turns, but I liked it. I thought it was fun and funny.
Yeah.
And they did talk about a couple of games like Wizard with the Gun. They talked about Talos Principle 2, which we've already seen revealed. And then to me, a shoo-in for Game of the Year discussions is Baby Steps.
Seriously, what the fuck? Like, I'm sorry, just like what? Like
That game looks so hilarious. And then Human Fall Flat 2 as well.
I
Those
gotta
are the
say,
ones.
the trailer for that was extra funny, not just because of the gameplay being absurd, but the way that it ended, where he was like, "I was trying to stop this castle full of rocks from falling by kicking it." Yeah, I was just trying to. And then there's like a whole long
arguing.
We do in the shadows style type of debate between these two characters. It's just
they're arguing
But it
about
just
like
ends in
reaching.
whatever. Yeah.
I like how he was like, I was
resolve
trying
the
to stop it with
situation.
my foot. He's like, oh, you're trying to stop it with your foot. Like that whole back and forth is so funny. Oh my gosh.
What an odd game. It's like Octodad, right? Wasn't that was kind of similar concept?
Yeah, and a little bit like Human Fall Flat, where there's physics floppy characters.
Yeah, the
whatever,
floppy
like,
thing. Yeah.
I assume
Wizard
it's your left and right triggers are like left foot, right foot,
Sure.
and that's why it looks so stupid.
The Wizard with the Gun game has a demo out, which I haven't tried yet, but it looks really fun.
It's cool. It's really
Pretty
cool.
fun. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely. Well, I mean, you mentioned in the notes it's isometric. It's kind of survival. There are survival elements for sure. Yes, very action oriented, and you're like kind of using your. I'm playing with a controller, so you're using like your right joystick to aim your gun and shoot it and stuff like that. But you're kind of there's a time traveling element where you're trying to turn back time to where things aren't horrible. I guess. I guess that's the narrative reason for everything happening.
Okay. Okay.
But you kind of do things in runs where you're like, okay, I've collected all my resources. I'm upgrading all my stuff at my home base. You know, I'm upgrading my gun. I'm getting more bullet types. I'm getting certain skills. All right, let's go back out there and get more resources. And then you do that, and then you come back eventually once you get enough resources to achieve your next goal, your next landmark. And then you go back and do the same thing. So you're it's a repetitive game in that regard. I don't know how long it could possibly be. It seemed like I was already unlocking a lot of stuff, and it was just the demo. So yeah, it's probably not that long.
There's definitely
it is
maybe
fun.
less survival and more crafting, right? There's like a lot of
way more crafting. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe survival is not the right word. Maybe it's more crafting. But that game looks really fun. That isometric action adventure.
The survival elements are limited inventory. I think that's the only really survival element of it.
Okay.
Like where you can run out of bullets. You know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, Devolver Showcase yet again, kind of really interesting. New take on
the whole
presenting
Volvi thing just so dumb.
Dude, can we just say like the way they introduced Volvi? It was
Sonic. It was totally Sonic.
Well,
it was
just
kind
like
of
now we introduced him with more attitude. I'm like, that's what they did with Sonic. Yeah.
When they went back and did like a mini documentary style thing of introducing like his history and how beloved he was, it was really believable. Like if you didn't know any video game history, you might be like, yeah, this is a real character. This is real. Yeah. And they asked the guy who created him about him, and he was like, I don't remember drawing him.
He didn't know why he's there.
Where's his big hand?
Yeah, the big hand.
Yeah, that shit gets dark.
Yeah, it got really dark.
And it is raining so hard here. I might.
Oh, it was kind of doing that here. I'm surprised you guys didn't hear the sirens going off over here.
Yeah, I might need to just go double check that everything's good in the house while you guys go over some of the Day of the Devs or Summer Game Fest highlights that you think are great, and I will rejoin you in just a second. So someone keep going through that. Just like the highlights. You don't have to cover everything. I know we talked a lot already. So just what are some of like the things that jumped out at you? And I'll be right back.
Should we go into Summer Game Fest? And who was on the React video for that?
Derek, I know you and I are like
that was
beyond pumped for Mortal Kombat, right? How are y'all feeling about Mortal Kombat after that showcase?
Oh, I'm rock hard.
Okay, cool. Nice.
Now we're talking.
I thought they were the best graphics I'd ever seen in a fighting game. So
it's funny because that's like what I heard a lot of people were saying the opposite. Like, oh, I wasn't impressed with how it looked. I'm like, what
are you looking at? The backgrounds,
dude. I heard somebody say about Starfield, and I'm like, do people's eyes just not work anymore? Like, I don't understand.
I'm telling you, it's unrealistic expectations. And then one of the guys,
the live streaming too.
It was actually Maximilian who was like, when I first saw it, I thought it was like, he's not the only one. I'm saying I've seen other people but he actually responded to it. He's like, at first I was like expecting more, but then I saw it in person, and this game is the most beautiful game, like fighting game I've ever seen.
It's just when things stream in, they're kind of muddled, That's
but
just
still like the expectation. Like you can even stream this, even if you're watching in 720p, you can tell it's a good looking game. Like it's unnecessary to say. This doesn't look as good as I
Mortal
thought.
Kombat has always looked good for like the last 4 entries. I don't understand.
Yeah,
that.
MK11 was a PS4 game, and then got upgraded to the PS5, and that game still holds
sharp,
up. Like,
is it the same developer that does Injustice, by the way? Because those styles.
It's all the same. all the same.
Go's animation style is like it's the same amount of realism where you're like, look at these characters,
And
man.
Justice 2
Yeah.
is gorgeous. That game
Yes,
looks great.
absolutely. I can't wait for. I can't wait. It might be a little strong for me because I'm not on Derek's level at all with this game. Like I'm excited to play it, but I'll be drowning in Starfield when this game is released, and this will be like kind of a back burner game for me. I'll be playing it every now and then. But I'm still excited for it in general.
$110 one, Derek?
Yeah.
Okay, because I did that one.
I would have done collector's
version,
edition. I just didn't like the statue. If
Yeah,
it would
the
have had a
statue's
cool
not
statue,
great.
I would have bought it.
Yeah.
But as far as like the game, like this was out of this whole weekend, and I was excited for the Xbox showcase, but the weekend I wanted to see this game. Like I wanted to see what it is. And Ed Boon, if you know anything about Ed Boon, if you've ever followed him, for 30 years he's done this. He loves to F with his fans. He likes to trickle things out slowly. He likes to drop subtle hints. He likes to mislead you. He's MK, misleading. But like he dropped enough information to hype me even more, but he still left out like a ton of things. Like here's the thing. The vibe I got is that I'm not going to get what I want as far as campaign. I want a full-fledged like conquest, like RPG, story-driven RPG. I think we're still going to get that 4-hour cutscene into a fight, cutscene into a fight, cutscene into a fight that we've gotten in MK9, MK10, and MK11. That's not to say that's a bad thing. They do them, in my opinion, better than anybody else in all of fighting genre. I just wanted something where, like, it's now, in my opinion, it's time for them to branch out. And they had 4 years to do this, so I could be wrong. They could still release that this is going to be a conquest mode. That's the last detail I care about. Everything else looks amazing. The cameo system looks fun.
They changed the crypt thing too, so it's like, and they're about to announce what they changed, and it's like it's going to be big, guys. I'm like,
there's a ton of information we still don't have, but like the cameo system's cool. I like that. For those who didn't watch, I like the fact that the cameos not only help you in the fight, but you can actually defer and let them do the fatality. And they're all old school. So they only showed Sonya, Kano, and Jax. But Stryker's in there. You also know Sub-Zero, Scorpion. It's going to be the old school version.
Stryker. Oh, yeah.
Clearly, they're going to have an old school Johnny Cage because it's going to be Jean-Claude Van Damme as the old school Johnny.
You kick that son of a bitch bison's ass.
And he's doing the voices too. He's doing it. He's doing the voiceover.
He's only doing the voices for the cameo
himself.
Version.
Yeah.
The actual Johnny Cage is the actual Johnny Cage that's been in the games for a long time. But everything looked amazing. The fighting looked amazing. Even the blood, they changed the blood. I don't know if you guys pay attention to stuff. I'm a nerd, but like the way the blood like basically pours out. It's just like floods out. Like they've changed.
It's the way it should be.
Yeah, well, it should. It's Mortal Kombat.
Wait, so Mortal Kombat games didn't have pouring blood before?
Not like this, where it's like it's almost like somebody's holding a pitcher of blood and just streaming it out.
It's like in the movies where like something gets sliced and then it keeps spewing and they'll hold it and and then it spews again. Like it's kind of like that, like kind of over exaggerated,
But I do like that they're trickling out information, but to finally get to see the game running. Also, I thought the backgrounds were phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
They showed like 4 or 5 backgrounds, and they're totally different from anything we've ever seen in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Dan, we talked about that on our reaction.
There's nothing even really creepy.
Yeah,
it's all like kind of modern and happy. It's almost heaven based. Like, hey, this is Liu Kang's heaven, and everything is bright, sunny, and gorgeous. Yet we already know, and Ed Boon's hinted at it, that's not the way it's going to play out. So I'm curious if there's going to be other backgrounds that are darker, more evil.
I would assume so, yeah.
And then also I'm hoping for stage fatalities. But yeah, tons of stuff that's going to be coming out. I'm going to follow it. It's my favorite topic to watch videos on right now.
Oh.
I'm watching all the interviews. I'm watching everything.
You know what actually would be awesome is if almost kind of like the what is it, like the Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and Returns games where you could go into the foreground and then back into the Like, or the background and then the foreground. Like, imagine like being able to like initiate something where you maybe move into the background of these levels and you're kind of like in a different space and then maybe go back. Like,
Or
that-
like Injustice, where you would like, well, even
Oh,
Mortal
yeah, they
Kombat
did-
3, where you would like
Yeah.
punch somebody into another like
right,
area.
exactly, like that. But like a modern version, that would be kind of that would.
I
Be,
will
I don't
say,
think
as-
they're
as
gonna
a-
do that, but I think that's cool. It
As a
would be cool.
non-Mortal Kombat player,
Yeah.
I did think it was just funny visually. I'm sure it's going to be a great gameplay mechanic, and you guys are going to love it. That's awesome. But visually, it's very funny to be playing, and all of a sudden, Sonya would run in and like punch someone in the face, and then run back out,
Run back out.
and then she run back in, like punch him again, and then run back away. Like I was laughing so hard at these cameos with the K as they would run and then kick real quick and then leave. I was like,
And then they were saying that they like
it looks cool.
Jax will like taunt when he does something. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna say stuff and do stuff, which is
Yeah,
pretty
Sucker
no,
them
I,
in,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
agree. I just was kind of giggling at the silliness
And then,
of
of course,
running
the
and
fatality
punching
was
and leaving.
They're just having fun.
Fatality was as comical as ever. It was so freaking funny. Was it
Fatality was
Jax's
great.
fatality or whatever? It was like ripping them. Oh my god, it was so dumb. I love it. I
Just
love
the
how freaking over the top it is. It's
the level
so
of
fun.
detail is absurd.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Well, not to spend too much time of it, but the Prince of Persia game just looks awesome too.
I think it
Love
looks cool.
it.
Yeah, like I didn't expect the franchise to go in that direction at all.
It's the Rayman team.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's right. You
Oh.
mentioned that before. And
Okay.
I totally
Mhm.
had never played any of those
And
games.
all-
All the
That's
comments
awesome.
I saw was this is the woke version of Prince
I saw that too. yeah,
What?
yeah.
because it's a black
is-
guy with like
He's
black
not
hair.
okay. Whatever.
He's not.
He's Persian.
Anything that's like
Persian, yeah,
anything that's
he's Persian.
female, black, or gay is woke.
Dude,
That's
he
what
is
woke
literally a
means now.
Persian dude. And by the way, he's not the prince. He's saving the prince of Persia. But whatever. No one pays attention anymore.
Nobody
It's
cares
the
about
woke
details and context.
Like-
Who gives a
Like
crap?
if you actually think about it, like the ones on PS2, he was more light skinned, right? So if
He definitely
anything,
was.
like that
he was more of a Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah.
yeah. So
He looked white.
That's
He was,
right.
he was
Oh my God.
definitely off.
Yeah.
in
yeah.
the
So this is
racist
more accurate if you think about it.
This
Like,
looks
Yeah.
awesome. Like, and my son Thad, who plays
So
and
good.
loves
It's
Metroid
so
Dread,
good.
he saw the trailer for this and he was like, "This looks like Metroid Dread," and I was like, "It's a Metroidvania. Like it's the
is,
same
yeah.
thing in action and like he's
The combat
hyped
looks
for
so
this.
slick though. Like it. I don't know, man.
It's great.
I really love the chunk of actual
Well,
gameplay.
you just need to admit maybe your son's woke. Maybe that's your problem.
She worked for you, man.
I'm telling you, it's the skin color thing, it's
Oh.
the hair, and then
It's
the,
the
sha-
skin
the shaved
color, it's
side
the
head,
hair,
right?
too.
It's the
Dude,
shaved
his hair
side
looked
head.
awesome.
But the
I-
he had the shaved
I
side
liked
head.
Oh,
it.
the
I'm
shaved side of the
telling you
head. Yeah,
what-
that's woke. That's immediately woke. You're immediately woke.
And
Yeah.
there
Yeah,
was a
the
ton of
haircut.
it's a ton of people from in the comment section I was reading. It was a ton of people from the Middle East that were saying this. They're like, "This is woke." I think they thought he was black.
What?
I
It's all the
think they thought
people
he was
that
black.
Derek buys Epic Game accounts from. He was talking to.
It was his.
Oh,
yeah.
Turka, turka.
Oh,
God.
no.
Lord.
Okay. What is this?
Keep it moving. Let's keep
What
it
is
moving.
this? All right. Did you guys already talk about Nick Cage showing up? By the way.
No, yeah.
No, we didn't get anywhere but the first 2 points because we don't know how to keep
Nick
things short.
Cage showed up. What do you guys think about Nick Cage showing up with his hair freshly dyed?
That was definitely one of the best, like that and Keanu. Like I just
It's-
love those type of big moments.
He
that
was
happen.
not as
Yeah.
cringe as I thought he was.
He
gonna
wasn't.
be. I
And
thought he
let's
was
be
gonna
honest,
be-
Kyle.
He
We
was
talked
so
about this.
excited.
His suit was pretty on point.
His suit was so
Oh,
cool, dude.
yeah.
It was a
He
good
needs
suit.
to be
Dude,
wearing a
he-
belt. If you wear
yeah.
a suit like that, you have to wear a belt.
Got to wear a
Like,
belt.
shame on
And it's
you,
got to
but
be a shiny belt that matches the shiny shoes, and then he
you
would
have
been
to
all
match
set.
the shoes. Shame
Yeah.
on you, Nick,
Shoes.
but everything else was
Shame on you.
excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a
Now
he's a
it was
dapper
for
gentleman.
an older game. No offense to folks who like it.
Oh, yeah.
That I really don't care about. That's kind of not super relevant, but it was still fun to see him on the stage.
Yeah. And it was cool that he was like, my kid was playing it, and she freaking played it so hard. No, he didn't Nick Cage out or nothing.
Yeah.
See, that's why I don't like Nick Cage. That right there.
But he was like, my kid introduced me to this, and I just love that it made him excited by proximity.
He was like explaining the game. It's like, dude, this
Yeah.
is 7 years old, but we all know
he was doing a better job than the Immortals of Avium guy.
Sure.
He was just like, I'm just
Sure.
gonna read the script, dude. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna read
yeah.
the script.
I'm an
I'm up
Nick
here to
Cage
look
was
kind
all
of
about
pretty.
it.
Yeah.
I'm an
You know?
Now, see, the one of the coolest crossovers we saw during that was Street Fighter 6 and Exo Primal. That DLC that's supposed
that
to
was
be
pretty
hitting.
cool. That was pretty
That
cool.
that
Yeah,
design
that's-
of the mech versions of Street Fighter 6 characters
Dude.
looked awesome.
Mech
That
Ryu,
was what
That's
I don't
insane.
remember who it was, but I was watching some video and they were like, "So you saw?" Oh, it was from Easy Allies. They're like, "You saw Nick Cage, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, he was watching the heck out of the Street Fighter Cross."
He loved
Exo
it.
Primal. He was like, just sitting there,
Kyle
like,
Bossman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. He was.
That's awesome.
Whoa!
He was just in all of it. He's like, I didn't talk to him. I just observed him watching the heck out of that trailer.
I would have done the
That's
same
awesome.
thing. I would have been like,
I love when
what's
Boss
the reaction on this?
All right, keep things moving though. Witchfire, new trailer and September 20th release date. This is a game that I've been hyped about. I know a couple of you have been as well since it was first announced probably 2 years ago, or it might have been just last year, but it's been a while.
I think it was just last year because like it was announced like the same showcase, might have been Summer Game Fest as Nightingale.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, what are these two new games? And they're not
It was
AAA.
the Vanishing of Ethan Carter devs doing a like magic and shooter first-person shooter game.
Right.
And we were like, interesting. So this looks like it's got a fresh new coat of paint. It looks even better than the original reveal. It looks really pretty. And September 20th. So Witchfire looks pretty sweet. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. But there's stuff coming up before this big, crazy September, October gamut we're going to hit. It's in July. We're also going to get Remnant 2. We got a new trailer for that. But I didn't realize, was July 25th already known? Or was that just announced for this?
That was revealed. That was a reveal for the show.
So Remnant 2 is going to be hitting in July.
Derek, why? Derek, why? Why'd you do that? You know what you did. You know what you did.
Did you just flash us?
No, he did. It's it's on the Facebook group. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do this? Why? Just why?
Oh, in the okay, I saw that too.
Like why? What is it? Why did you?
Now
do
I have
this?
to see what you're talking about. Dan, you're going to interrupt the show. I'm going to have to see what we're talking about.
Just why? Why'd you?
Derek's getting bored. All right, we got to keep moving here.
Getting bored.
Sonic Superstars, I thought looked really cool.
Dude.
Yeah.
Crowd was hyped for it.
Yeah,
that was
a great
awesome.
trailer for it too. I love the trailer a lot.
Yeah.
4 players on the same screen at the same time looked like a blast. It just looks like a lot of fun.
It's old school, but like there was just a few little like added elements that to kind of add something into the mix that I really liked.
And that like the twisting cube as you got to navigate through, and like
it
looks fun. And then there was a part where you actually become those little squids and you're pixelated, like shiny pixels. Very, very cool and catchy visually too. So I'm on board with Sonic Superstars. Let's skip ahead here a little bit. A couple of you have played the Lies of P demo, I think. I have it downloaded but haven't played it. It's got a September 19th release date, which I think was rumored already, but is confirmed.
Thanks for releasing on the same day as Mortal Kombat. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Dude, September is nuts. So if anyone wants to, go ahead if you want to give your impressions of it, or you want to wait till a different time to talk about Lies.
Oh, it's just I can make mine super brief so Derek can talk a little more in depth about it, but like it's still not. These genre of games are still not
the Souls type
because they require a certain level of patience that I'm like example is the options of gameplay that you have for the Star Wars Jedi games are like the crossguard example, that stance, spoilers I guess or whatever if you care, but like that is more of like to me that's more of like a Souls like stance where you're like I got to be patient and time my strikes. And I'm not patient, so I was using like double bladed and blaster the whole time, just like unloading on dudes whenever I wanted to. Whereas, so this game is like crossguard stance the whole game almost. That's a bad analogy, but what I'm trying to say is you have to time everything.
And there's no level differty slider. It's
right. There's none of that.
What the game is what the game is.
You do get to pick your build, like a pre-build when you start the game. There's strength and dexterity and balance. I went with dexterity assuming that would help me dodge, and it did for the most part. I got through like a mini boss pretty successfully because I was able to figure out, here's what his attacks look like. And I was able to dodge pretty quickly, and I didn't have a problem with the dodge at that point. But once I got to the big boss and I died twice, I was like, I'm good. These games aren't for me. It was like a really, really large boss where the hitbox is just stupidly large. And I think Derek mentioned that too at one point about the hitbox just being way too large. And the parry was just inconsistent. Like it just felt a little inconsistent at times.
Okay.
But yeah, the game's not for me. I'm not going to revisit it or buy it or anything. I just wanted to try it.
Oh, I'm definitely buying it. I played the demo for 3 hours. I beat the first boss. I didn't bother getting to the second boss, and I would have, but I invested already 3 hours, and I was like, this doesn't carry over. If they told me it carried over, I would 100% beat the second boss.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't want to, I already had a headache with the first boss.
Sure.
But overall, so my first impression was a little bit of disappointment, except visually, oh my gosh, it's extremely stunning on PC.
Dude,
gorgeous.
Yeah, that's where I play it.
Very, very good looking game. And it runs good. it seems interesting. In fact, the more and more I played it, the more and more intrigued I was. Plus, you start to discover the systems a little bit more. It's definitely, it borrows from all the Souls games, but it's not like Bloodborne like everybody says. Like, you're not going to pick it up and play it like Bloodborne. It doesn't move like Bloodborne. It's
I think it's just
heavy.
the aesthetic that people are focusing on, and,
Yes.
and just
well,
saying,
they're
"Oh, it's
saying
like
they think
Bloodborne."
it's the
Blues
game
and
to play
grays.
like, but it's
Yeah.
not. It's really heavy on block and parry, which is, you can parry in Bloodborne with your gun, and in this game you have your left arm is steel, so you can punch them, and that's kind of your interrupt. And then you unlock different tools that go on your left arm. So again, you can utilize them for different things. It can be like, I unlocked a string, so you can grab an enemy from far away and then pull them towards you. So one of the cool things is you're on roofs a lot, so you can grab them and pull them off the roof. So there's different ways to kill enemies. I would say, and again, this is just my impressions from the first few hours, this is the best Souls type game. I'm not going to say it's the best. That's wrong. That's
Not
false.
made by FromSoft.
Yeah, it's tied with the one that I love that I'm forgetting the name right now, but whatever. No, I beat it twice. Damn it. I'm sorry. I forgot the name. Anyways,
Greedfall?
it's huh?
Greedfall?
No,
No?
it was the one that Tim played it a lot too. He liked it too, where you're like a shell. Oh, Mortal Shell.
Oh, Mortal Shell.
Shell. That's
So
a cool game.
That's
I
right.
could I could potentially see this being just as good or better than Mortal
Okay,
Shell.
yeah,
I
that's
think
probably a
it
good
plays
comparison, yeah.
better. I have an issue with the dodge, and I did go check out Steam reviews, and everybody's feedback was like, guys, the dodge has got to move further. Like, you're barely moving. Like, the reaction's fine. You hit the dodge button, you dodge,
Mhm.
but you're not moving very far.
I
And so
see.
you are not getting out of, like, the first boss you fight's huge. He's huge. So if you're not moving, you can't dodge him. So that's when I discovered, well, that's because the game wants you to block. They don't really want you to dodge that much. They don't want you like cycling around them. They want you to block him and parry him. So really good. I have high hopes for it.
Nice.
I definitely changed from like, this is not very good to, oh, I really like this.
Yeah, I'm excited to try out the demo, but also to try it on Game Pass in September. Looking forward to that one. I thought Sandland from the designer from Dragon Ball, the creator, I guess, right, of Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Toriyama.
I thought that Sandland looked really cool. Now, it was just kind of a, I think, cinematic trailer with little clips of gameplay, like some vehicle combat and a little bit of like maybe on-foot combat.
Yeah,
but I just thought overall the vibe of it was nice.
I love the song. That was what
The
I
song
might
was
take away.
great.
The song
Kyle,
was
I wanted to
awesome.
ask you, because were you aware of Toriyama making this new manga?
No, I'm
Okay.
familiar with it by name, but I don't know anything about it. Yeah.
Okay, because I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
when it popped up, I was like, oh wait, they're making a did we even
Yeah,
know
yeah.
this? Because like I knew he was making this new manga, this whole new thing, but I had no
Yeah.
idea they were making a game about it. Like,
Yeah,
I don't think we got a
I'm-
date though for this one. So
No.
it seems like it might be a little far off, but
okay.
really cool reveal, man. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like if anyone's who's a
nice.
Dragon Quest fan is obviously gonna find a lot of comfort in the way that it looks and
Yeah,
everything like
Dragon
that, so.
Quest, Dragon Ball, a little bit of mixture of those. I like that's a good call.
Even the robots that you see in the trailer are the exact robots that Red Ribbon Army used in Dragon Ball Z. Yeah.
Oh,
maybe
gotcha.
this is like in the far future, Kyle, or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
The whole
Hey,
world is sand, dude.
Not to interrupt, but I just thought this was pretty cool. Green Man Gaming has already released like a pre-order for the $100 version of Starfield for $80. So
Oh,
there's
nice.
going to be some good deals for that game. So I'm
Yeah.
excited
Yeah.
about that.
Nice. NC Soft, who's made some of my favorite MMOs from back when I used to do a lot more MMOing with Guild Wars and with City of Heroes and Villains. They've got a new MMO called Throne and Liberty, which does look cool, but I was telling Dan as we were reacting to it, like, don't know if I have time in my life for an MMO, but I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it because NCSoft has a great track record.
NCSoft is awesome. Yeah,
they're fantastic. So I'm
I
interested.
missed
to see
that was an NCSoft game for whatever reason. So
yeah, I
super
think
cool.
the beta is happening this summer. Maybe now, maybe soon, but I don't remember. I just remember it's happening this summer. Like you can sign up for the beta. I think something like that.
I'm not even remembering this name. Thrown in.
And yeah, we were talking about how like the cover looked like kind of fuzzy, like weirdly like grainy on the picture for it, for Throne and Liberty. But anyway, not a super memorable name. Honestly, it's not a super.
Oh wait, yeah. Okay, now I remember. Yes.
Alan Wake 2, we got more gameplay. No, not more gameplay. We got gameplay shown and a little bit more of an intro and an idea of what to expect, and that's coming out October 17th. I thought it looked at first. I think my feed was a little bit grainy, and then all of a sudden, like the quality of it cleared up. And I was like, oh, never mind. This is super
This
pretty.
game is so freaking good looking. I am so hyped for this game.
Oh,
As
yeah.
a huge Resident Evil fan, this feels like
looks like
action Resident Evil game, and I am so hyped for it.
Yeah, I like the little bit that you got where Sam is trapped in like the upside down, we'll just call it, and like all of his stuff happens there, and then the new person, Saga, whatever, Henderson or something like that, you play it in the real world, and you can switch to them at any time to further their story. So you could play like, one person's story all the way through up to a certain point, and then the other person's all the way through, or you can switch back and forth. So cool. It sounds pretty interesting in terms of how they're going to tell it.
It's all over the place too.
The thing that caught my attention as a total Alan Wake noob, and don't get me wrong, I'm still going to educate myself on the first game and some of the stuff that happens in Control before I get to this one. But when the guy Sam Lake, I think, was the one that came out and he was like, "Yeah, you can just pick this game up. Like if you've never played Alan Wake before, it's fine. Like because you're playing a character
no matter what.
Yeah, you're going to be confused no matter what because you're playing a character that has no idea what's going on." For some of it, so
sure.
I mean, there is.
I mean, honestly, Alan Wake was confusing, but honestly, you can really explain the entire game in like 2 sentences. It's really easy to actually understand. It's not that hard. But if you just listen to the dialogue and you're going in noob and playing the game, you'll be like, "What the hell is going on?" But as soon as you know he's a writer, he's writing the story.
There's theories though, aren't there? I don't think it's that definitive, is it?
No, it's more open, but I'm saying you get the gist of what's going on. Like you understand that there's this darkness that is manipulating things, that is actually existing. But he writes these stories for the darkness.
Yep, this is gonna be a great October game. Good timing for that one too. Speaking of Kyle games, Space Marine 2 got a new co-op campaign trailer. Also still scheduled for this year. Looks really good. Like it looks like a
player co-op. That's amazing.
It's like Gears of War in space the way it's looking. It looks awesome.
Yeah. I'm really excited for this game.
I don't know if it plays like Gears of War. It just looks like
kind of. No, it's a heavy third-person shooter with
is it pro?
With some powerful melee stuff.
Some chainsaw swords. Gears of War is directly a direct ripoff of Warhammer 40K in terms of like armor and weapons. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's like
I can see it.
Cliff Blazinski was a huge fan, and he's like, I took a lot of inspirations from the 40K universe.
Cliffy B is like my lord and savior, so don't hurt my feelings by saying that.
I bet he is.
He's my everything. I hang on to every
They went through a couple of games that we'll just go through quickly. There's a sequel to Yes, Your Grace called Yes, Your Grace Snowfall. Baldur's Gate 3, of course. I'm not saying it's not an important game. We've just talked about it and heard about it a lot. That's still slated for the full release.
I will say they just released a PC like showing of like the Baldur's Gate City. Go check that freaking thing out on YouTube. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
And then they announced this zombie game called Toxic Commando. That
John Carpenter.
With John Carpenter's name attached to it. I will tell you this: watching, like, being able to get those vehicles that are armored up and just drive through hordes of zombies, that looks really fun. So, like, I don't know if the game's gonna be good.
It looks fun. Hate the name. Hate the branding.
Yeah,
hate the title crawl or whatever. I thought it looked so stupid.
Toxic Commando.
I actually didn't hate like what they showed though. So
yeah.
What did I say, Tim? I said, was this the opposite of White Knighting?
You did say that. Yeah,
Toxic
the opposite of White Knighting. Yeah. We got a release date for Spider-Man 2, although no real new like actual game content. Some concept art that looked really cool, but
he explained some story stuff about Venom too. He was
like,
that's not
totally fine. I don't need
Eddie
to
Brock
see
is what he said.
It's
Also,
not Eddie Brock.
Tim, that concept art with Venom and the two Spideys
Gorgeous.
going at him, steel bookcase.
Really?
Steel bookcase. Yes. So
Dude,
I kind of need to get my hands on.
that. Looked really good.
Wait,
that's
is there
October 20th.
pre-orders up for that?
Not yet. It's on the 6th I think it's
That's
the
right.
16th.
That's right.
Right?
You're right. Yeah, it's like coming in the
In
next
5
week or
days?
so.
This
Yeah,
last
yeah.
week.
When they
Uh,
first said October, I was kind of disappointed because I was like, well, I really wanted that game in September. Now I'm like, thank you for
Oh.
being
Thank you for
October.
waiting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Actually,
you.
if they had said
Thank you.
November 4th or something, I would have been like, good. Yeah.
I was
November
like, thank you,
Perfect.
thank you,
Nothing's there.
please.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This one really made me even more confused about Sony's showcase.
Well,
Like,
I'm with you.
What's this?
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
get
why not
giving
release
Keighley some
the
sort of
date there?
exclusive, but like
I don't know.
you knew the date a week ago. I'm
They
sure.
must have
Keighley-
gotten paid.
Keighley paid some
To me,
bucks.
it just proves how much connection Keeley has.
Keighley
That's what it
Cash.
really means to me.
Yeah, because this wasn't the only exclusive from Sony that he showed.
Keely
Yeah.
Cash. Then we saw Pal World, which is Pokemon with guns. It literally is Pokemon with
Pokepal.
guns.
Someone's
Not
getting sued.
only-
Someone's getting sued. Someone's
Not
getting
only
sued.
is it like Pokemon with guns, like they literally copied Pokemon designs and just
Oh, yeah.
brought 'em
I could
in.
name every
So
Pokemon in that
good.
trailer.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Oh my god,
100%.
that's so bad.
100%.
Crazy. Yeah. Lord of the Rings: Return to Moria looks like a fun game, a fun Tim game. A couple you might enjoy it too, and that's coming out in the fall. Where it's basically
What
a
is it? I missed what it
survival
was.
city builder as a dwarves in the mines
Okay,
of Lord of the
okay.
Rings.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not gonna be
I'm
as good as
out.
Gollum.
With
but-
it's got combat too. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. Like it's got combat too, but
So does
um,
Gollum.
true.
You
I
mean
think this
Game
one
of the
looks
Year
fun, though.
candidate Gollum? I think you should
Um,
put some respect on that name.
Mobile game Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis is slated for this year. I think you can sign up for some sort of early access or to be on the list for something. That's Ever Crisis. Dan was you're saying that's the entire story of Final
Yeah,
Fantasy
so
VII.
if it is, which I'm pretty sure when I was trying to look up in the middle of the stream just to confirm, so it's supposed to be essentially almost kind of like a chibi version of the whole retelling of the whole compilation of 7. So going
Oh,
from
okay.
what
was
would be
this?
the earliest would be
Ever
Crisis Core.
on
Oops.
mobile.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII Ever
Ever
Crisis. So it's supposed to be. So I guess it would go as far back as Crisis Core with Zack, all the way up to Advent Children. So like literally, they're gonna game Advent Children, which is the movie. So it's supposed to be like this whole thing.
The
of being able to-
coolest video game movie, in my opinion, ever.
Still
Yeah.
love that movie. I
That's
love
pretty
that.
rad.
I
movie.
just bought it on 4K Blu-ray today.
Yeah.
I was missing it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy it, and I bought it.
The
Yeah.
fighting in that movie is so good.
It's so good.
It's
So-
no
so-
Super Mario Brothers movie.
They did that
I mean
movie
the
before.
93 movie.
They did that
The
movie before
93
Mode
movie.
Capture too. So like how
Yeah.
long it took to make it is
Yeah.
out of this world. Yeah.
So guys, Don't Nod's been very busy. They make
Apparently, releasing
making-
games every 5 seconds.
Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden, which looks awesome, and I think
Yeah,
it's
it
a
does
Game
look
Pass
cool.
game.
Yeah.
But Banisher looks cool. There's some sort of like spirit world connection between these two characters where I don't know exactly what it is. I don't understand all of it yet, but it looks really neat, and I think I'm looking forward to.
I think my
Banisher's.
concern with them is they haven't proven to me that they can make a game with like fun gameplay.
Dan, you and I were talking about this. Like the game they've tried like this
Vampire.
was Vampire, and
Yeah.
And
And
that
Remember
was
Me. Remember
that
Me
was very.
Oh, I forgot
average.
about Remember Me.
Yeah, Remember
yeah,
Me had some really cool gameplay elements
That's right.
too.
That's right.
They made that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
their first
beat
game.
that game. I
Yeah, it's
played
their
and
first
beat that game.
Ah,
It's a good game.
So
You
funny,
didn't
the game's called
remember that.
Remember Me, and nobody.
I didn't
everybody was
remember
like,
me.
You didn't
Remember Me.
Well, guys, don't forget that
me.
on November 9th, you can play the Yakuza Spider-Man game called Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, because he has
The man
Spider-Man
who used
powers.
web slingers. Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much Yakuza game content coming out. The Like a Dragon game content.
Yeah, we're getting treated pretty well, Yakuza
Getting
fans.
treated
so,
really,
yeah.
really well. So that was announced and confirmed for November 9th. Under the Waves from
Yes.
Quantic Dream, hitting August 29th.
It's Quantic Dreams. They splintered off.
Oh,
They broke off into like a indie developer. I can't remember the name of it. Spotlight or something like that.
They got a couple
And
games coming.
yeah, they did Under the Waves and Lisfanga, whatever. They mentioned it.
Looked like
Oh,
some
that was-
exploration, crafting.
No, this is just a narrative adventure game.
Well, he was picking up items and stuff. So I don't know. I misunderstood what.
Oh,
the
that's I
gameplay
googled
was.
it and it was like, oh, it's just a narrative adventure game, and I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, interesting.
Well, when you watch the trailer, like it shows the character actually like.
I mean,
doing
it could.
stuff.
It
Yeah, I
could
don't
be.
disagree.
like-
I just, I'm
It
just
could be
off
just
the
him
description
picking
and
up
stuff.
items for like whatever that
Absolutely
mission
could
is in
be.
that moment.
It could
and-
be a
yeah,
guided
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my interest in it just took a nosedive. That's what it is.
How dare you? sir.
Sorry.
It's it's Quantic Dream in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
keep dreaming, Jeff.
All right, so just gonna fly through some stuff. They talked about Marvel Snap, this game called Fae Farm.
My God, that dude Marvel Snap. That dude
I
from
know.
Marvel Snap.
I know.
He was
He-
too
and
much.
so
Keely even
much.
told him, he was like, "You're made for YouTube."
Yeah, you're kind of a lot there, guy.
Call of Duty Warzone new content, games like King Arthur Legends Rise and Wayfinders and Space Trash Scavenger and Star Trek Infinite.
Space
all,
trash.
I'm only naming these so quickly because I really do think that they were like a combination of mobile games or like free-to-play games. It was just a bunch of stuff that was named real quickly. But
Star
I just
Trek Infinite could be huge, but they didn't show anything from it. Like it could be a big thing.
I think it's
we have
a mobile game, but maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was.
I thought it was an MMO, but they didn't show anything.
Okay.
Keely's little comment about Fae Farm when that finished. He's like, "Yeah, that's."
I told you you'd have variety.
Yeah, we had variety. It's the thing that's there, and
It was almost like a. What do you want?
Those guys paid me.
Yeah, exactly.
I was able to use that cash to buy the Sony Spider-Man release date info for you.
Yeah. There you go.
And then they showed a clip from Twisted Metal.
They sure did.
I hated this.
They sure did
so much.
Dude, I'm like I would think on this show I'm the biggest Twisted Metal fan, and I was like, this is absolutely terrible. Like, first of all, here's my big issue that I had with it that I couldn't stop watching and it annoyed me is he apparently slams his head into.
It was so gentle.
And it was so gentle, and then it cracks. And then his face is just against broken glass, and he's just talking normal like it doesn't hurt. I'm like this isn't funny comedically. And then you're obviously not even trying to make it look realistically like this is like
and
violent.
Then they even put a line in there that was like, why don't we take this back to the cars? And I'm like, please.
Take it back to the cars, please.
Yeah.
Please stop.
Or take it back to being somewhere good.
I'm still going to watch it just because I'm going to pray that it's better than what they're showing, but
good.
I don't think it's going.
This is the kind of thing where, because I'm not a huge fan of the IP already, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I like to make fun of stuff that I think is bad, but I want to be careful because I know there's fans of it, both that listen to the show and on the show. I didn't think that was a great clip to like make people want to watch the show.
Terrible.
I thought it was pretty bad, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a bad show. It could be a great show.
It's just one terrible choice.
It's going to be a bad show. It's going to be a bad show.
I don't know about that.
We'll see. We will see. Speaking of the Quantic Dream indie developer, Lisfanga, the Time Shift Warrior, I believe is also made by them. And it looks really great, kind of Mage Seeker-esque, where you can rewind time and that kind of thing. It just the style looks great, and I think that one looks fun.
More like Convergence, because Convergence does have the rewind stuff. So
yeah, it's like Mage Seeker and Convergence together because you got the isometric combat with the rewind feature. Really neat. I loved the gameplay of Immortals of Avium. I'm hyped for that game too. That looks like a blast.
They keep showing gameplay, and I'm like, every single time, I'm like, why does this look so good? It should be
I think the game's going to be super fun to play, but I think it's going to struggle with the same thing Forspoken struggle with, and that is you are controlling an annoying protagonist, and I think he's going to kill the game. I really do.
He didn't strike me as annoying in the little clips they've shown so far, but
me neither. He seemed if anything, he seemed more like a blank slate and dull. Yeah.
I was gonna say boring, if anything, but
maybe
not
boring.
annoying.
But yeah, you might be right. But I think what it does have going for it that seems like Forspoken maybe didn't. I speak out of line because I didn't play it. Just from what I've heard, maybe it's going to be more fun to play. But I could be wrong. Maybe Forspoken was a lot.
I mean, personally, I loved Forspoken. Like as far as gameplay, but
yeah,
I am definitely in the.
Some of the gameplay was really cool and inventive in that game.
I got some Doom vibes from like just the whipping around and shooting. Not as fast.
Well, that's what Ryan McCaffrey kept saying. He said that
like
this
Magic
is basically Halo/Doom, but like you're using magic.
Yeah, some of the magic was like
feelings of the gun. Yeah, the way you're shooting the magic, which Forspoken does that too. You unlock like stuff that literally feels like a machine gun. So they're very similar.
So that looked really cool. And then they did a big Fortnite thing, of course, which that season's out now with bunch of new content there, including
it's Little Optimus, yeah.
Little Optimus.
I definitely zoned out.
And then I thought Dan might have passed out on the show as we were watching the final trailer, which was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Pretty lengthy story and gameplay trailer that they showed.
What
coming
a
early,
lame way to end it.
Early 2024.
Yeah, so uneventful.
Yeah, I definitely romance explosioned everywhere. So
All right.
Okay.
Uncomfortable.
What is that in descriptive detail? Can you explain that process to me?
So basically, Dan has the same issue that I have
when a man loves a game.
Comes on.
Yeah.
Let's keep digging into
it. Man loves a game. All right. Are you guys ready?
No.
You guys ready?
Is it gonna be Jimmy with his VR headset on?
Kyle's preparing for a spit take.
You ready for this?
We're literally okay. We're taking.
Why don't we hear you?
Show.
I don't want to hear you.
We're still here at the scene of this terrible disaster. caused by a massive tornado which
Is the sound okay?
You're
You're echoey,
definitely
but yeah.
a little bit.
Amidst the wreckage of the expressway, search and rescue operations are already in progress.
Are we watching this whole thing? Because this
Yeah, what are we
You
doing
said,
here?
you said echoey?
show's running long.
Oh, you're good now. You're good now.
Yeah, it shows
When,
what's going on
when
here.
the audio for the
It's a
video
short trailer.
is-
We'll be fine.
Okay.
So
Dan, you're echo. Like when you talk with your video audio being shared, I think you're monitoring
It
yourself or
echoes.
something
Yeah,
because it's
echoing.
we're getting a loop of you.
okay. So then
So you must be
I'm on.
monitoring your own voice.
Yeah.
Also, we
And
gotta
we're
wrap
not,
up the
and
show,
we're
so-
not watching the trailer again.
I'm like falling asleep and I haven't eaten dinner yet, so.
I was
You
hoping
guys,
to wrap
you
up
guys
with
ruined
the next
everything. You guys ruined
I
it.
didn't know. You
Definitely.
gotta tell me.
Yeah, I didn't know you were doing a whole bit, or else I would have put it at the top of the
I
show.
am-
'cause I
Well,
want to
yeah,
talk about Final Fantasy, but just
I would
not
love
3
to.
hours.
Also, I don't know what's going on with the audio, so I'm not gonna try to.
I
fix
do.
that.
Like you just got to turn off your monitoring of your mic coming through your own speakers because you're sharing your sound with us. You just got to turn down your monitoring of your
whatever.
microphone.
Bottom line is the trailer is insane. There's all sorts of trippy stuff happening. There's them looking like they're dead, getting carted away. Apparently, potentially in the beginning, it's like, what's the deal with that? That might be
Cloud
tight.
is gone
What's
for
the deal with that?
What's the deal with the bodies? Then they're opening up like what looks like a door of like I think it's right when they're leaving Midgar, but like it's weird because I don't think any of you have played the Yuffie DLC, right?
I
Not
have
yet.
No, I haven't
not all
been
the way
really
through,
serious.
but
So
but
yeah, I don't want to be too specific, but there's basically something at the end of the Yuffie DLC that's like in my, and I might have to go back and watch it again. There's something conflicting as far as the environments, the way that they look, because like here it's like they open it up and it's like that Breath of the Wild, oh my god, look at the
Gorgeous.
Yeah. that was definitely
but
what
it's-
they were going for.
it's all green and lush and everything, and like what I'm referring to in the Yuffie DLC is more like kind of like rocky and like browns and reds and stuff. So like I don't know if just the environment's gonna be that.
So
varied.
did she steal the environment too?
Yes. No, there's not
She
stealing.
stole the cliffs.
That's probably what they do. But yeah, and then I mean, what do we see? We're seeing the chocobo farm there. You see some chocobos. You're seeing the scene where Cloud is telling the story when they get to Calm, referring back to explaining who Sephiroth is and everything.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
What else do we get? I mean, you get. Oh, you know what?
Isn't he talking about Genova like in the trailer as well? Isn't he speaking about
Sephiroth
her?
or
Yeah,
because
Sephiroth.
Sephiroth is talking about he's talking about Genova.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys noticed in the combat, and I didn't literally notice this until people were putting screenshots up and then like literally pointing arrows at them. There are certain shots in the gameplay like that. There's the part where that Red 13's doing that spin move. I don't know if you guys remember that. If you look in the background, you can actually see Aerith and like Tifa and or maybe it's Aerith and Barrett just hanging out in the back. Like you can see them like off in the distance, like ready to almost like jump in. Like so people are like wondering, oh, is this gonna be like Final Fantasy X where I can literally just real time swap in characters? Like because you couldn't do that.
Oh, so you're saying they're
had an
sideline
active
characters.
party, and
Yes.
your sideline characters were
Interesting. Oh, I love that. Okay.
But
okay.
they're kind of like, you have to really spot, like, as I didn't notice. I did not notice until people were spoken. So that would be super bad.
They're
Like, you see
probably
them run
reading
into the
it a
scene.
bit much.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, it makes
Hey,
sense.
we didn't
because-
stomp on your dreams during Mortal Kombat. You need
Yeah.
to chill out with the
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VIII.
But it makes sense. These guys are all going on a journey. They're not. Why are they just going to stand back there and do literally nothing, right? So if suddenly they kind of pop into the fight,
Yeah, but
that's
the
really
reason
cool.
I was saying that is because why would they literally tag team? Like, why wouldn't they either all be in or they just do
they
the
might
whole
be
video
doing something
gamey
in the
thing?
background. I'm not entirely
Gotcha.
sure. Might be doing
Gotcha.
something in the background. But I mean,
Taking
they
a break. Taking a
definitely-
smoke break.
They're definitely doing like dual techs, right? Very Chrono Trigger style combo moves, like which is amazing. And
Yeah.
we did get a little bit of a taste of that already, to be fair. But not like full on like how they're going to be doing this. So
And don't forget, it's on 2.
Two discs.
it's on 2 discs.
Like it's 20.
I was pretty sure the first one
2001.
was too. One was an install and one was a play disc, but I could be wrong.
I think
Yeah,
you're
it's just-
right, but like
Yeah.
Hold
I
on.
think Final Fantasy VII was on 2 discs.
I thought it was. I thought you
He
played it
said
on
one.
remake.
Yeah.
Remake, I mean.
Oh, remake? Oh, I don't remember.
He's checking now, but he said one.
No, you were right. It was 2.
Yeah,
Right? No,
that's why I didn't understand why people were.
But no,
even,
it's
like,
it's funny that
commenting on
they're like
this.
advertising it
Yeah.
that way.
Probably
Yeah.
because of
Well,
social media and
that's-
people are like,
Yeah,
that's-
I don't
remember
know.
things.
This
That
felt
means
like
it's
everyone was
bigger.
just like, this is such a big
Yeah.
deal. I'm like, but the first one was like this.
The first
But
one
I'm
like
wondering
this.
if they're specifying that because it's not necessarily this situation. I'm wondering.
Yeah,
if-
it might actually be 2 discs.
oh,
a
like you
full-
insert
yeah.
one when you get to
Yeah.
end of part
Yeah,
and
one.
then-
it could be.
and then swap. Because I mean, they got a lot of ground to cover, considering they spent 40 hours just in Midgar, and now they're doing 2 other games. That's all of the rest of the game. That's originally most of the game.
90% of the game.
Yeah.
Potentially new elements that they're throwing in there involving.
And they're still
Zach-
adding more stuff. So it's
adding more
like,
stuff.
New
right.
characters.
Yeah.
It looked like it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Look,
so-
I'm not raining on your parade. I'm super excited for this game. I actually thought it looked really good, and
Early 24 is a great
I was
window
actually-
for this.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was disappointed that I couldn't find. I kept looking for like a 4K trailer. It took forever for them to release a 4K trailer of this.
Oh,
Everything was 1080p, but it looks amazing.
it looks amazing, and I don't know.
I'm
man.
glad we were all wrong, because last week we were like, "There's no way they're gonna."
no way.
Didn't
Market
make any
this.
sense from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
You know what?
I still think it was a
After
bad
all the
idea.
hype, I'm like, oh, this made sense. This was a calculated.
Dan,
But I
Remember
mean,
when-
they're really like look at it. They released Crisis Core in December.
Yeah.
Now they're releasing Final Fantasy 16. Like the biggest complaint you ever hear from Final Fantasy fans is Square, get your shit together. And Square's
Takes
like,
so
we
long.
got our
Faster.
shit together. Shut up. Like
Yeah.
they're just throwing stuff at us.
Dan,
now.
remember when Keeley teased everybody with the DoorDash thing about Final
That was my
Fantasy?
favorite.
That was amazing.
No,
Audible.
Sorry, guys. He shut it down so
Oh.
quick. He knew he had it in his pocket, man.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
talk
Whole
about
time.
talk about controlling a room, dude.
Yeah.
I
Very,
love
very
that
nice.
guy. I usually
Me too.
hate on
I'm the
people.
hugest fan
I
of Jeff
love
Keighley. He's the best.
He's
that guy.
having fun, man, and he's enjoying what we enjoy. I love it.
I really believe he's a gamer. Like I really
Yeah.
believe he
Yeah.
actually gets excited and like gets giddy, and he's not like, oh, I just
Yeah.
gotta sell
It's
this because I
genuine.
make more
When
money.
when he starts smiling and being goofy, I
Yeah.
feel like it's a super genuine.
But it's funny too, because he was like, ladies and gentlemen, the rumors were true. And in
Yeah.
real time with Tim, I'm like, wait, Final Fantasy 9? Final Fantasy 9? Because there's now like the more resurgent rumors coming
Yeah.
out of a 9 remake.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait, so because I don't know what he was referring to the rumors are true. But
When he
Even-
was building
even
it up,
possible.
I don't remember exactly what he said, but there was a couple lines he said. I'm talking early on when he was building it up, and I was like,
yeah,
oh my god, he's
Mass
gonna
Effect.
he's gonna show me Dragon Age, and they're gonna give me a
Oh, Dragon
release
I
date.
thought it was Dragon Age 2. Yeah.
And a release date. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
a sequel
adorable.
to a series, an RPG that redefines. I'm like, he's talking about Dragon Age. No. Yeah,
or Mass Effect,
I wanted Dragon Age. I felt Dragon
Sure.
Age in my bones. But
Dan, I
Yeah.
do feel
Final
bad that
Fantasy
you wanted to go over
totally
the
fine.
trailer and like
Yes.
walk us through. We should do that. We really should.
Yeah, I would love that.
Because I really I want to, especially as we get closer to the release or something like that. So let's definitely take
about
time
that.
to go
Yeah, I
We'll
through.
would
do
love
an
to do that.
in-depth analysis.
We'll do it.
I can't
We're not
speak,
going to
but-
have the biggest showcases to cover next week, so we can just do it next
We
week.
could do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could do it.
yeah.
Or
Come
here's
prepared.
an
Come prepared with a
idea.
PowerPoint.
If Dan
Yes,
wants to do
PowerPoint.
this, I would love to do
Oh.
a special podcast where we just talk Final Fantasy before 16 comes out.
Yeah,
I would
do
love
it.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Do an hour episode.
I freaking hate Final Fantasy, but I guess I'll talk about it with you guys. That's fine.
Freaking
And then
alive.
we'll
I knew it was a
We'll
facade.
do
long as you
a
stop talking
3-hour
about, like,
show where it's just Mortal Kombat.
Liquids.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have this for any particular reason.
All right.
Pictures
So
of liquids.
I think that Day of the Devs. I don't think there's a ton to highlight here for me, but I'll throw it to you guys after I go over a couple. There was a couple that jumped out at me. I really do like the guys who made the Alto Adventure games, which are like these downhill skiing, super peaceful,
Oh,
just
Mhm.
kind of pleasant little mini. They're almost like a mobile game where you just hit one button to do a thing and you let go to jump. Like it's very simple. And they have a game called Summerhill coming out where you are
Summerhill
liter-
looks cool.
you're literally a shepherd. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
So,
But the
anyway,
artwork is kind of like what sells the game on top of the
agreed.
relaxing gameplay. Like the artwork
Agreed.
is just so insane.
I thought Haunty looked really awesome, like this
Yeah.
kind of stenciled looking
Yeah.
artwork, and where you can possess things and then use them to navigate the environment or to defeat enemies or to solve puzzles. So I thought Haunty looked pretty cool.
Yeah, that was
And
the first
then-
game that I was like, this looks awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked really good. And then I know Jeff, you're gonna talk about it too, but I thought Hyper Light Breaker looked so good, and they even talked
Yeah.
about their love of Breath of the Wild and Hades, and how this is kind of a mixture of those two types of games,
I
like the
get
way
it.
that they're trying to
Yeah.
approach it. So
I get because I think the
thought
first
it
game was very Hades-esque, if I'm not mistaken, right? Wasn't it? Drifter? I never played Drifter.
I didn't play it
but-
enough. I played it a little
But I
bit.
think it was kind of like you're supposed to die, I think. But
Okay,
I don't know
sounds
that
good.
it's the same kind of respawn technique that they use in the gameplay, but I understand that it is a little difficult and purposely
And
so.
it's still saying this year, 2023.
Yeah, early access though, but so which makes me think that the Breath of the Wild comparison is because it's open. It's like wide open and
Yeah,
multiplayer.
you're probably right. Well, it looked like you were doing a lot of fast traversal, like some kind of
like Solar Ash. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're taking pretty much everything they've learned from previous games and applying it to this one, which is awesome. I love this developer. They make such great stuff. I played the Viewfinder demo on PS5.
Okay.
This is strictly a puzzle game in a perspective one at that. So like I normally don't gravitate to puzzle games, but like when they're really cool ones that kind of mess with your brain a little bit, you are taking Polaroid pictures and literally just zooming it, like just holding it in front of you and plopping it. Yeah, and then your environment becomes that Polaroid. Like literally putting it anywhere in the environment. It's
and then all of a
so
sudden there's like
cool.
stairs maybe because they were in the picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that kind of artwork or photography called where like it looks like never-ending stairs? Isn't there a name to that? Like
the MC Escher,
I think so.
Yeah, I think MC
right.
Escher did that one.
It kind of has a little bit of that feel to it where it's
and
like
there's some
at the right
Polaroids
angle,
starting out it was just black and white pictures and they were helping me get to a certain button that would help me teleport somewhere. Apparently there's a story, but it's a demo, so I didn't get all of it. But then there's a part where I start picking up totally different type of Polaroids, and like some of them are like, what do you call the wet paint style?
Wet paint.
Oil painting. Some of them are like oil painting. Some of them are like old cartoons. Like some of them are. It's wild the amount of art styles that are happening at the same time. And again, you can just literally plop it anywhere on your screen, and it becomes your environment. That's so great. Cool.
Yeah, that one looks neat. And I think Cocoon looks good too, from the Limbo and Inside folks.
Oh yes, yeah, that game looks awesome, and it's supposed to come out this year too.
Last one I'll mention real quick is Hellskate. It kind of has a little bit of what was that Xbox one from Insomniac? Help me out. Where you're skating around.
Sunset Overdrive.
Yes. So there's a little bit of that, and then you jump down and do a bunch of combat. So you're skating like Tony Hawk Pro Skater style, and they even have one of the devs of Tony Hawk Pro Skater Underground, that old school game. He's working on this game, so they definitely are doing skating and tricks and all that stuff. But then there's combat as well, where you kind of get off your skateboard and start fighting. You can fight on your skateboard too. So Hellskate looked kind of interesting, I thought. So yeah.
Yeah, I like the art style on that one.
Yeah, looked all right.
I wanted to mention just a few things from the PC gaming show. The show is way too long and talks about games that you already heard about or you'll never play. But there were a couple interesting things. Citizen Sleeper 2 is already announced. People loved that game last year. I didn't care for it.
It sure did.
Breath Edge 2 is already announced.
Really?
But yeah, but this one is not so much going to be a linear experience with survival elements. It's going to be more of a survival sandbox game. Okay. And they also showed a pre-alpha or an alpha build of Dune Awakening, which is the MMO that everybody's kind of been waiting on.
Okay.
And it's like full-blown like third person. It looks really good, really current gen. Somebody was flying a ornithopter around.
Okay.
Like it looks cool, dude.
All right. I was hoping it would be third person. Okay, nice.
Yeah, it is.
Nice.
But again, very early footage.
Since it's a school night, I want to get you boys in bed. I want to make sure that we are respectful for time. Just open it up to anybody. We won't go through one at a time for quick hits. I don't really have anything to share personally. So if anyone has something they really want to just mention that they're watching or playing before we wrap up, I want to give you a chance to do that. Dan, you were about to say something.
I finished Succession. I did not like that ending.
You didn't like the ending? Oh, come on! I
like that ending. I mean, there were elements of it. There were elements of it. I was like, oh, you know what, attaboy. You know, a good win for you. But like, I don't know, the last 5 minutes, like the logic of like the interactions with who I'm referring to, 3 individuals. I was like, why is this suddenly happening all of a sudden? Everything was fine the day before.
This was everything that was pent up. Like and I know you did. You watched the show.
I just must have missed something in the moment where I just didn't catch
why suddenly. All 4 seasons of him like being disappointed over and over and over, and then he finally believes he's got it, and it all comes crashing down.
Right. It just seemed so abrupt because they seemed on board, and then she leaves.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, there's a part where somebody starts acting a little too lax in their environment, and that's when she starts kind of reacting differently. Like you kind of see it on her face of her being like.
Well, I like that he said. I like the way he interacted with her because he said, like, this is the logical thing to do, and I immediately said, but she's a girl, so she said it. She's like, but I don't feel like you would be good. And I was like, that's exactly what a woman would say. He's yelling at her with logic, and she's going, I don't feel like you'd be good. You can scream at me with all the logic you want, but if my feelings say no, I'm not changing my mind. So it made sense to me because I was like, that's exactly how you write her. That's exactly how you write her. So I thought it made sense. She did it based off her feelings.
It was just so.
That wasn't my takeaway. I'm not so gendered about it, but
well,
Lord, I don't know
literally what she said. She literally
I know,
said,
but you're
that's my
assigning some
feeling.
sort of bias along that one side that line that I just don't
Probably
agree
better
with.
that way.
I'm
It's
sorry.
for the best, I promise. Yeah.
It just seems like so. It was just, and I get it, like, you know, because obviously, they're all assholes at the end of the day. So
yeah, the thing is God, I'm trying to dance around spoilers, but I don't know how much you guys are gonna watch it.
Yeah.
But I don't think the people that were involved were as good as they said they were. Like they were always hyping themselves up to be something more than they were.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's why I totally bought the ending, because all of them were just like, we kind of fucking suck. Like the other kid and the other guy in the room had a great point. Like he was like, we're all just.
Well, he
like,
said it.
Like
he said it, so he realizes it. But it's just they weren't like being as direct about it as he was, because he just got up on the table. He's like, "Yeah, we can just suck. We suck. This sucks. We suck."
Yeah.
So
I didn't feel bad for anybody. They're billionaires. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that the creator was like, I could have done another season. The show could have gone on forever, but he was like, why bother? Like,
no, it needed to end. Even by the time I got to the 4th season, I was like, okay, can we end this?
No, it's a nice, neat bow on it. It was just like in the moment, it was jarring. Is probably the appropriate word I'm trying to find. It's like,
by the way, the internet has memed the handhold thing. That's been so funny. It's like when my wife doesn't agree where to go to dinner, and then it's like them doing a shitty handhold.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just very jarring, but I mean, what an unbelievably excellent show. Like, just
you can connect the dots to how the show ended. Like, I mean, there's parts where the girl's husband says so many lines to Kendall, alluding to the ending, basically.
Yeah,
you can just connect the dots and be like, oh, this was always going to be the plan.
Yeah.
So, I love the ending. Sometimes the most, the one you most suspect can also be good. That's how I took it.
Yeah. Well,
anyway.
He deserved it, so good for him.
Good for him. Yeah. Fucking.
Anything else we're playing or watching? Not that I don't want to keep hearing about Succession, but what else? Anything else? Quick hit.
Mine's quick. The only thing is I'm playing Crisis Core. After I saw Final Fantasy, I want to beat Crisis Core before 16 comes out. I don't know if it's possible. But
I feel like I know you pretty well enough to know that at some point you're probably going to give up on that game. Because I have some pretty serious issues with it, but I like.
I'm almost 6 hours in.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the
only thing that would stop me is if I literally run into a wall gameplay wise and I can't beat something.
Yeah, it's mainly like the beginning, the first half story wise, and then that Genesis character. I want to put his face through a wall. I can't stand the way he talks. I cannot stand, he makes me so mad. I hate the way he speaks,
but yeah. I thought
weird trigger. That's a weird trigger.
I'm also I'm gonna
love it though.
I hate him. I hate him.
Passion. It's a lot of passion.
I'm gonna replay Final Fantasy VII too. So I was actually I posted this morning about hey, does it carry over? Because I was deciding, do I want to play New Game Plus on PS5 or do I just want to start on PC?
I think I might do it on PC too because I want to get to the Yuffie content, but I want to re-experience the whole thing. It's been a couple years now. I kind of want to dive back into it.
I want to sneak into play too with the DLC.
When the hell am I gonna have? Okay, this is.
I don't know, man.
I really do want to as well, but I'm mapping it out in my head. I'm like,
when?
Jeff, I would love for you to watch either one of those videos so you can
the longer one is the one I prefer. I don't want to leave out any details because then they'll reference it in the game and I go, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but I've been playing a lot of Diablo 4. So I think we're all Kyle and Derek. I think Derek, you're still playing too, right?
I'm level 48.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we're pretty far then. I know Kyle and I've been playing pretty obsessively. Kyle more so than I have. But I'm level 55 Necromancer. well past the main story. Just doing end game stuff and having a blast. Just filling up my what's called renown, so you can claim all your rewards and get a shit ton of Paragon points. And I'm actually on my barbarian run. I'm level 12 now, I think. I'm leveling up super quick because I know the map now. And just having a hell of a time. My brother just got the game. That's why I started taking my barbarian run a little more seriously. Because he just got to the main city and a little bit past it. We just haven't connected yet in multiplayer. So I'm like, okay, we got to make sure we're like the same level, because I don't want to, I just don't like the idea of let's redo this mission, like I don't want to make him redo a mission or whatever.
So like your dad's like 2,000 hours into Diablo, right?
Yeah, he's at least 30 bazillion.
30 bazillion hours.
I love 3000. That's my favorite.
3000. This is not Sparta. But yeah, I just love this game so much. Can't get enough of it. I mean, it's pretty much my life until I guess just Final Fantasy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be okay.
Which Final Fantasy I think is set to download on the 19th is what PlayStation 5 was telling me because I was looking at it. I think the 19th is when it will download. At least that's when it's scheduled on the PS5. I don't know if it's
sure.
There's probably a day one update. Who knows?
Yeah.
No. They've already confirmed. They confirmed. It's all on the disc, baby. It's all on the disc.
4 discs.
They're not effing around. They're not effing around.
Anything else you guys are playing? I don't want to miss anything.
Oh, where are you on Diablo? What's your level?
Oh, I'm level 60 and deep in the end game, and beat the game. It's having a good time. Yeah.
Deep.
Awesome. Yeah, when I have gamed in the last couple weeks, it's all been V Rising. Like a couple of little sessions of Zelda here and there. Love that. But V Rising has me absolutely hooked. But it is very much like if you like Diablo style combat, V Rising has some of that. I'm not saying it's as good or in depth, but it has that style. It's very, very good. But loving that game too. All right, I think that's pretty much it. We'll circle back. There's gonna be more time next week to talk a little more about other stuff we're playing, smaller stuff. This week was just really full.
Oh, there was a lot of showcases.
Yeah.
So appreciate you guys.
Oh wait, I gotta talk about Fast X.
No, you don't. We're done.
No, you don't. Absolutely. I'm getting off. Y'all have a good night. Everybody, bye.
Do you though?
My patience is out for Fast and the Furious.
Kyle is done. All right. Well, hey, thank you guys for being here. Thanks for being hype and positive with us. This has been a really exciting week, so I'm looking forward to.
Character's still alive.
Looking
I
forward
like
to
how we still have a couple more days left too.
More,
so
exactly.
Squeeze it out while you can.
More great showcases this week. So
I'm just gonna keep saying Fast X spoilers.
Enjoy video game stuff this week, not Fast and Furious stuff this week.
Johnny
please
Depp's
do
in
anything besides see Fast and the Furious.
Oh my gosh.
Johnny
we're gonna
Depp
let
is
you go mercifully. Johnny Depp's gonna be there. Is that what you said?
Johnny Depp is in Fast 10.
He's in, and so is Amber Heard. They race each other.
I would watch that.
I would actually watch that movie now.
I would give a shit about that.
Oh,
Maybe
on
out of
that
bed,
note,
maybe too.
On that note, we're out of here. See ya.